G'day folks and welcome back to Six Masters 2020. It's Guz and Raven taking you through all of tonight's action. We're coming out of a pretty strong performance by the Pittsburgh Knights, 2-0 against Kanga, and it never really looked in doubt.
Yeah, Kanga never really in that game. At one stage, I think on both maps, they were at least at 2-2, but Knights just proved too strong. They got a lot of rounds together in particular, and as I was actually just looking over my match stats, Kanga actually never won a second half round on both maps. Their 2 round wins were both in the first half, and then they just really struggled once they switched sides.
Well, of course, you guys can keep up to date with all of the actions. Socials are on screen now at Rainbow6ANZ. And of course, if you jump onto Twitter, you can participate in the community poll. We'll show the results on stream. It is time now to start talking about the second matchup, Raven. Okami taking on Team Ferox. And we were both just saying then, this is looking to be really exciting. I think the playstyles that these teams bring is going to make for some pretty crazy siege, to be honest.
Yeah, this is definitely an exciting matchup. Okami have had a pretty good Six Masters so far, off the back of a pretty good Pro League Season 11 as well. But Team Ferox, I mean, they struggled towards the end of Pro League Season 11. And so far in Six Masters, they've really been showing up. I mean, they might not have as many points on the board as you'd expect. But most importantly, their series against Wildcard last week was really close. Both of those maps, even though they lost, super close.
Well, Okami, formerly known as TBD, let's have a look at their roster for tonight. Keep in mind that they are still looking for an organization. This is sort of a rebrand of sorts. They have a cool logo now, so I'm not complaining. The roster, though, Centis, he's been added to the graphic. Raven, who is he and what does he bring to the team?
Centis is their manager, I believe, and acting as some kind of a coach. That's why you do see that 6th person on that roster lineup, as you said. But in terms of these players, 2 players that have been standing up so far for Okami in Six Masters really have been Cutie and Ippy Style. Cutie in particular, I think, has been having a really strong tournament for his team. It's a really pivotal part of particularly their overtime maps. So look out for them as they face Ferox.
Well, Ferox are definitely worthy contenders in this matchup. Let's have a refresh of their lineup. And Golden will be the new addition. Interestingly enough, one of the former players on this roster.
Yeah, so again, Golden fulfilling, I guess you could say, like a management coach role. Not 100% sure about any of these support stuff in terms of what exactly they bring. It's not as clear cut for some teams. Team Ferox had a massive week last week on the back of Warden having a stellar performance against Wildcard, particularly on Consulate. He was very instrumental in that game and keeping them in it. And of course, it was a 7-8 scoreline, so very narrowly missing it at final round being a 1v1. Some big players on Ferox that can make the plays, though, also Shade. And Todd on previous teams has been quite the playmaker, so they definitely have a roster you need to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, and a roster that tonight Okami need to keep an eye out for, because I think typically they're the team that have the unpredictable players that you're trying to hunt down for the entire series and might have some issues trying to contain. But Ferox, they're a team that also have a couple of players that have... Yeah, they just do the most ridiculous plays that you can never expect, and teams do get caught out by them. I mean, last season in the Pro League, Wildcard really struggled against the then Fury roster, who some of these players are now playing for Ferox, just shutting down some of these crazy plays. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how those 2 play styles sort of clash together, because as I mentioned, I think it's just going to make for some chaotic siege, even more chaotic and more messy than some of the games we had earlier tonight.
Yeah, and what you're talking about really has come a lot from Warden and Shade in terms of some of those plays that Team Ferox can make. But Six Masters so far, I think, has really brought down, I guess you'd say, a more calmed down version of that. They're not trying to flank and make all those plays as frequently as they used to. It's a little more sparingly. And I think that's made it tougher for teams to be able to counter because it's less predictable.
Well, as always, the map veto The map veto always plays a massive part in how these matches play out. My words are terrible. Let's just bring up the veto, bring up the graphic. I'll let Raven talk all about it. There we go. Ferox on Villa, taking that off the board, and Okami will take down Theme Park.
Yeah, Okami have generally been a pretty good team on Villa. In fact, they lost it very narrowly to LFO last week, 7-8. But in general, they've been quite good on Villa, so not too surprised that Ferox would want to take that away. And maybe the theme park ban that has persisted for Okami, I just think they haven't stratted it out enough to where they feel comfortable playing on it.
Awesome. Well, that leaves each team to pick one more map that they will play on tonight in the best of 2. So let's have a look and see where we'll be heading. Clubhouse for Ferox and Coastline for Okami. Just coming off the back of a Clubhouse maps, what can we expect?
Ferox played really well on Clubhouse last week. They, again, close to wildcard. It was a 5-7. And Clubhouse is just a popular pick in general for a lot of these ANZ teams in Six Masters. So I'm not surprised at all when Clubhouse pops up. It seems to be the most picks at this stage. And the Coastline pick from Okami, we've seen them do pretty well on it before. They haven't played it in Six Masters yet, but I remember from Pro League Season 11, they've had some pretty good results on it. So it's something Ferox is going to have to keep an eye out for. Ferox themselves, in fact, have played it in Six Masters. They lost to the Knights, and that was 4-7.
I think, again, like many of the matches that we have in Masters, there's huge question marks around how these maps are really going to play out, especially, again, with these playstyles clashing together on maps that are typically, or maybe not Coastline, but Clubhouse, typically quite rigid and structured. Even when you have the roam for the downstairs objective, it tends to be pretty contained. But when these teams are unleashed, they're unleashed. And I think we're going to see some pretty spicy stuff across the board.
Yeah, I'm excited for both maps. I think looking at these maps with these teams, it feels like it's going to be pretty even for both. So it's going to be hard to call how this series will go. I'm pretty sure I've predicted a draw in my predictions, so 1-1 each side. Let's see how it pans out.
Pretty sure I did a draw as well. Let's see what you guys at home think. Let's bring up the community poll results. And it looks like Okami with a very strong percentage there, 69 in fact. Nice. And that'll leave 15 for the draw, 16 for Team Ferox. So it's looking like Okami with some pretty strong support.
That's a lot of support. And I mean, of course, they've been playing pretty well. Their victories have been not super convincing, though. I mean, they only won 8-6 against Kanga on Cafe. That's definitely their least convincing victory. And Ferox, I mean, they haven't, like I said earlier, they haven't put as many points on the board, but they've been playing pretty well. And their wildcard series last week was really good. So if they can bring that consistency and replicate that, I really think they will give Okami a run for their money.
Yeah, it's definitely going to come down to who can close out these maps. The first, of course, being Clubhouse. Let's jump straight into the action. It's Okami taking on Team Ferox. This should be an absolute banger of a matchup. Let's get it.
Interesting to see what the bans will bring. I mean, Ying is becoming expected for me at this stage. When it started creeping in, I thought, oh, it's just a couple of teams that don't want to play against Ying, but we're starting to see it so much more. See whether one of those teams do so. But then the other popular ban, especially on the attack, is probably Maverick or Thatcher.
Wow, Warden really out here adding Todd in the chat. Wow. He's going to live to regret that. If Todd has a big game here, oh, I don't think Todd will let him live that one down. And Ying is taken off the board, so nothing too interesting in the ban department yet.
I mean, Ying is just in a good spot, or a strong spot at the moment, able to clear utility with her $10, but of course, once that utility is gone, providing a bit of a headache, almost literally, for those defenders that are trying to deal with it. So a lot of teams just not wanting to deal with it. It's a similar rationale to why Echo, I guess, is banned a lot. It's a lot to deal with. You have to be thorough with IQ. You have to think about how you're clearing it. And if you're not, well, then it really punishes you late game. And of course, he's banned yet again.
Interestingly enough, we have seen Thatcher being freed up in some of these matchups, but in this one, he will be taken down. Echo and Mirror to follow. It's looking like a pretty standard ban phase for Clubhouse, albeit Maverick has snuck through, which could make for some pretty interesting plays on some of these main walls.
Yeah, it's generally what you lean on once you've lost the Thatcher in that ban phase. You have to lean a lot more on Maverick, because of course Kaid in particular becomes very much prevalent on these defenses, especially for basement. So you'll need to be Mavericking those hatches. Of course, using Thermite for the other walls, maybe Dirt Wall, for example. You might use your Thermite breaches on, or whatever hatches you don't get.
Basement will be the first side of choice here for Okami. And I just want to put it out there, Okami, I don't know why, but that is a hard name to say. I'm having so many issues with it. It's just an awkward name. TBD was easier. But the Okami, I must say, their branding is very nice. Very nice.
Yes, it is very nice branding, so shout out to Kandor. Pretty sure he's the one that designed that. Good job, bro. Something that's really surprising me right now is that Okami aren't bringing the Kai. I mean, I talked about how strong it is with the Thatcher ban for Church, Obviously, they're doing this SSG roam, so maybe not quite as critical. But if this roam gets cleared out quickly, there's nothing really to stop a solid, fast progression from these attackers. Maybe a bit of impact tricking on the kitchen hatch, but that's pretty much it. So this is really Okami doubling down on this roam. It really needs to be successful, otherwise Ferox could take a strong attack.
Attacker's objective is to locate
High risk, high reward here in the first round, a trend that I'm anticipating will continue throughout the rest of this evening. Both these teams likely to bring strong plays and strong counter plays in return. Shade tries to find a pick through that con window. We saw Juicy earlier this evening. Actually managed to hit it. He almost got one rotating to con, but no. Both these teams try and fill out this very first round.
The thing about this roam style is it means you do have to be thorough with your drones. It's going to stall out any team. Ferox looking like they are droning out this roam. Maybe wanting to clear it. There's 3 players above from what I can see there. Epistal on the bar. Backdad and Cutie off-site. Pretty quick push here though from Ferox. They've come in through that jacuzzi wall, cut off that master bedroom side, potentially looking to push it, and that's a great entry from Todd. No donut from him straight away. That's a good call out from Warden. And look, that's giving them a solid man advantage now, pretty early.
Bomb diffuser has been dropped.
Todd in that first pick, so he hasn't dropped 0 kills in this game. Good start from him. Sushi as well, making his way down, likely trying to get that church balls. Shade actually manages to drop Itby style, one of the key players for Okami, particularly on these aggressive roams. Jack Daddy tries to follow it up, but he'll be droned out. Joker is only the only player on site. Mangoes and Jack Daddy both off site. Again, high risk, high reward. If Jack Daddy can flank and get a couple around, might be theirs. There's a player to his left. He thinks it's down the hatch. He doesn't see him above. He flicks up, does hit the shot eventually. That was incredibly awkward. But Joker's been taken down on site. Mangoes will reclaim that position. Gets one on the hatch drop. 2 more drop to follow it up. Can he get them? Shot thrown out. They miss as he seeks coverage behind the bomb chassis. He's been flushed out. Oh, they haven't seen him as he's rotated out. Ferox have they made themselves known inside of Arsenal. Plant now being attempted by Todd. I mean, very hard to deny it. Shade will drop 1, and surely Depchar can get the second. He will. And Ferox will take the first round.
Look, honestly, that was a really convincing attack from Ferox. They did a great roam clear, so good entry from Todd to get that initial pick. And they just systematically either killed or pushed those defenders back towards site, and then they stubbornly didn't go back. Maybe they should have, Guz, because they just kept dying, and in the end, Ferox were just too strong. And again, once they pushed out that roam, it was a pretty free push to site. They ended up just easily opening kitchen hatch, dropping in, got that plant down. Arsenal uncontested, essentially. And yeah, Okami just never looked in that defense at all.
They're going to reattempt it, instead opting for CCTV and cache. Often the first or secondary site of choice. In this case, it will be the secondary for Okami as they try and reclaim that lost momentum. There was almost a stage there where it felt like Jack Daddy on the roam might have been able to bring it back. That presence in Ferox too strong. Able to just get in towards the side and worry about those roamers later, and in the end, it definitely worked out for them.
Another big concern with that as well is they had a mute and a Mozzie, so how did the entry be so clean in terms of their intel from Ferox? Seems to me that maybe some pests or mute jammers not placed very effectively, or maybe just the positioning from Okami on that roam is not great. I'm not 100% sure, but it really felt like there were just some big errors there from Okami that they need to fix to be able to pull off that roam as hard as they were going to hold it, because as I pointed out, without that Kaid, there's not a lot back to fall back on if that roam doesn't work. They're going to extend this roam on CCTV cache here, which we've seen a couple of teams start to do, and one in particular is Wildcard. So I'm curious to see how Okami plays this round out.
Jack Daddy again on the roam. This time over towards the main stairs. We're going to use these Valkyrie cameras to try and help provide utility for his team. Meanwhile,
located by
Ferox
attackers.
using that Maverick, which has not been banned, to try and get this wall open. Mangoes will retrieve that Electro Claw, seeming that it's basically useless against the Maverick. That wall was almost completed. Warden just gets the final touch right about. No. I think he...
Just a bit on the bottom.
Bottom? Or top? This is a Maverick's worst nightmare. Oh no. Surely he doesn't run out of fuel. Oh, this is awkward. He must be a little bit attached at the bottom here. Warden's going to use his drone to try and find it, but this is disastrous. It's not only wasting a lot of time, but it's putting pretty much all the pressure on Warden. Eventually it is open though, so... took his time. Oh, you know, he got it done.
Oh, the sledgehammer to the face of Jack Daddy. Nice from Todd there. Those are some big errors coming out of Ferox on that, though. I mean, Warden just bungling the opening of that wall, and then Deptra wasting a concussion against the wall instead of impacting it. But hey, they got that entry pick, so they've got the man advantage. Wall is open. They're in an alright position here. They haven't given themselves as much time as they probably would have liked to work towards site. But they've still got enough where it's going to put a lot of pressure onto Okami. Make it a little bit difficult for them to be able to hold on to site really hard.
Bishi meanwhile inside of Con tries to get the wall open, but it's missed time. Fortunately, those charges not taken off the wall. Electro Claws posing some issues here for the attackers. His style, meanwhile, will get the first for his team in this round. That's Deptra taken down. Mangoes as well in a strong position from below to play denial. Will be exposed though from the doorway. That player wasn't peeking though, it was Shade. He had his Ash charge out and he is made to pay the price. Leaving it now in a 4-on-3, that Convor finally being open.
It really just feels like it's been quite a sloppy round from Ferox. A lot of errors happening. Losing exothermic charge unnecessarily to that Electro wall. And I don't know whether they drone stock or not, but it seemed like a blind push. They got very minimal time here as Warden's trying to get in through the breach. As Mangoes picks up his double, Warden is down, so it is all up on Sushi. He's trying to peek around side, but Okami just have all the control. They'll get their first round, making it 1-1.
Definitely a convincing start by Okami thus far. Ferox just struggling a little bit with some of the fundamentals. Things not quite going their way so far. As we look at the replay now. Ah. Wow, that was a bit rude to Jack Daddy. Oh, the slow-mo. Oh, poor Jack Daddy. Oh. Copping a hammer to the face. That's, yeah. That spelled his demise. And it was up to the rest of his team to recover. They did. Now it's 1-1.
Just think in general, that was real night and day in terms of Ferox's attacks, because their first one at Church Arsenal, that looked really clean and quite coordinated. Whereas that cache CCTV just felt like it was a bit of a bungle of errors. Like, so much was going wrong for them. There was the Maverick torch just not working out, and then Deptra wasting a concussion, and then Sushi wasting an exothermic charge in that wall, because I don't think they ever cleared off that claw. Felt like he was just expecting it to happen and it just never did. And then I think it was Shade, maybe not even droning out stock, facing that gunfight, ended up losing that. I think all that really added up to Ferox not having a shoe in that round. They can tighten it up again on this one.
10 seconds to
Kami bringing a lot of utility to the board.
5 seconds left.
Pretty much everything they've brought to the board is going to require some
Attackers'
sort of
objective is
utility to
locate
clear,
a bomb and defuse it.
depending on where they are placed. So definitely don't envy Ferox in this round. They have a lot to juggle. And they seem to struggle a little bit in the last round, but there wasn't quite as much utility to clear, really. So they're going to have to step up big here if they want to try and take this round.
See how they go with this time management. If they are going to try and take CCTV cache across, they're going to have to do it pretty efficiently.
Bomb
Important
located
map
by
control, and it
attackers.
can be tricky to take. So far, they're already putting a lot of good pressure here. Sushi's going to be getting that Emerald wall open nice and early. His style is the Jaeger, trying to put a lot of pressure there from the cache doorway. I think it's going to worry Ferox too much at this stage. Really, if Ferox can get that control within the next 45 seconds, they're in a great spot coming into that
Attackers
final
have
stage
found
of the round.
diffuser. Attackers recovered the diffuser.
Warden again on Maverick, trying to open up the wall by
A bomb
blow
has been
torching both the
located.
top and the bottom. I believe he was successful.
The attacker's bomb
Sushi was
diffuser
successful
has
in
been
opening the
dropped.
CCTV wall. Indeed, the wall has been opened, so Mango's now pressured inside of bathroom. Cutie as well, tasked with holding the vault-ins and any rush through gym. So they definitely had their hands full at the moment, Okami. Cutie tries to find a pick, maybe. He goes for the shots. They rain out and do ton damage to Shade. Shade actually re-picks it. That's very dangerous. Impacts go out. Shade will avoid the first. Warden, though, he ensures that Joker doesn't avoid that grenade, and Ferox now with the man advantage.
Something I really like that Ferox has done right now is instead of hard pushing that cash, that peek
Oh
from
my
Ippy very
God.
aggressive onto Todd. Wouldn't have been expecting that. But what I like from Ferox is that they haven't hard pushed cash. What they did is they all started to focus onto the west side, and it meant that players from Okami started to rotate back
Attackers
towards
recovered the bomb
side,
diffuser.
and now the cash CCTV area is a little clearer. And if Todd had actually picked up Ippy style there, they would have had so much map control for this final minute.
45 seconds left on the board. It's a 4 versus 4. Sushi still outside of CCTV. Couple of frags go out. Jack Daddy actually is well over on that side of the map, so it's really a battle of two halves at the moment. Which team will come out on top? It's looking like it might be Okami, but that kill will be refragged, leaving it all up to Shade with minimal HP. Manages to just avoid those bullets there, raining out over towards CCTV, and now he'll enter in towards the main hallway. One bullet is all Okami need to hit. Surely they'll be able to do it, and there we go. They'll win the round. Definitely a chaotic end, but they have the goods to close it out. That was a nasty angle.
A pretty close round in the end, but yeah, Okami really just ended up holding on to enough map control where they could close it out. I really feel like a lot of it came down to that super aggressive peek from Ippy style when Todd sledged open connector window or construction window. If Todd had actually won that gunfight, well, I think that definitely would have gone differently. And even if it was never a gunfight in the first place, I feel like that still would have favored Ferox, given that it would have facilitated some pretty strong map control for them. There was a good peek there and some good aggression from Okami, and now we get to see them reattempt this Church Arsenal bomb site, which really didn't look that good for them the first time they tried.
Again, Okami not going to bring Kaid,
Attackers need to locate and defuse
despite
as many
Thatcher
bombs
being
as they
banned
can.
out, so expect them to likely go for another roam above. On their first attempt, they were picked off quite quickly, and the roam really didn't work. So they'll be looking to try and stay alive a little bit longer and waste a bit more time on this occasion.
And again, they're really just not giving themselves an option. Because sometimes when you can set up this roam, you can decide to hold it, even just for a brief period of time. And if you've got your mute jammers and Mozzie Pest placed really strategically, shoot a bunch of drones, you can start dropping back. And then if the attack doesn't catch you on that rotate back, they still have to drone out this top 4. They still have to clear it. It takes a lot of time. And then they have to deal with that utility. But Okami need this roam to work. They need something to happen to create a solid stall point here, because once this roam is clear, it's pretty simple for Ferox to be able to open everything.
Final preparations now in place. And Okami well and truly investing above. Question is, will Ferox chase them? It looks like they will. Todd starts things off by opening the Logi hatch, and the drones will now come out, but all of those mute jammers and Mozzie Pests, the mute Mozzie combo as it's affectionately known, definitely caused some issues. Jack Dad, he's been spotted, just misses the drone. It's a good usage there from Ferox. Able to keep that one up for a little bit longer. I have no idea. Where did that drone go?
I think it jumped down in the end. Not sure, but Jack Dad wants that drone, man. He's in hot pursuit. In fact, it's right next to him. Shade must have had it on the shelving somewhere that Jack Dad can't see. Some good shots coming out there in his direction, not hitting though. So far this roam has worked out, I mean, at least a little bit. It stalled out Ferox more than previously, but they have some good control here in Master Bedroom already, which has essentially nullified a big part of how this roam will play out. They can start really making work in bar and kitchen. As we see Okami going to default back, Todd gets that pick on an Ippy style, and again, now that this roam is cleared in this first half of the round, there's not many obstacles as they push towards site.
The roam again is falling apart for Okami. Cutie prepping the wall to potentially C4 over later.
Attackers drop
Talking
the
about
diffuser.
C4s, Jack Daddy makes his way back to side and has one in hand.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Ferox in a perfect position to close this one out and once again even out that scoreline.
Attackers have dropped the bomb diffuser.
Joker though, he will get one with the UMP, so that's Warden taken out. Maverick no longer in play. And arguably Okami still in pretty strong positions to try and close this out. C4 rains out.
A bomb has been located.
That one won't find its target though. Shade uses those holes to try and fire back, but he'll be taken down. Diffuser dropped as well. And that could be a pivotal moment in this round.
I'm not sure why they're biting so hard on that, especially Shade was the one carrying the diffuser. He can be recovered, and there still is a bit of time, 30 seconds here. Not sure how they're going to be going with this intel. Cutie tagged up as he tries to peek in towards Moto. He's now down, so it's going to give Ferox a man advantage. A couple on low HP, but 20 seconds for the execute, guys.
It's 2-on-4. Jack Daddy and Joker to hold it out. Another 15 seconds. The entry will surely come in. Jack Daddy, can he get the first? He does. Can he find the second? He will. Joker gets one as well, and now it's Sushi left in a 1-on-2. Ferox surely won't win this round, but Sushi manages to get the final two. Okami abated it in the final seconds of that round. They let it slide away just when I thought it was theirs. What a great performance from Sushi there in the dying seconds.
Yeah, great end to the round there from Sushi, but I really feel like it should never have gotten that close. Okami really had control for most of that round, maybe getting a little too overzealous with Shade in Kitchen when they had the man advantage and a lot of control. I felt like the church push was on. Trades came out, and I thought, oh no, Okami bring it back, but Sushi had something else to say about it. Means that it's 2-2, guys. It's pretty even. I still feel like Okami struggling in general with these defenses.
I would definitely not be surprised if we do not see that objective come out again. That's the only objective they've lost. They've lost it twice now. If they win here, thinking that for the final round of the half, they'll probably just hedge their bets and go back to the bedroom where they are actually able to grab around. For some reason, that roam just not quite clicking. Too many members being dropped earlier. Really hasn't given their anchors on side a great opportunity to try and win these rounds. I mean, they were super close. That last round really should have been theirs. Just overpeaking a little bit in the dying seconds. But you're right, it never really should have gotten to that stage.
10 seconds to insertion.
I just think in general there's some fundamental issues with the way they're setting up that roam, because with a Mute and Mozzie, I should really be stalling out a lot of that early intel from the attack. It should be taking them so much more time to get in. Personally, I think Okami back to the drawing board with how they're setting that one up, because it's working out too well for Ferox. See how they go with CCTV cache. It was successful for Okami last time, based on what we were describing as a pretty sloppy round from Ferox in terms of some fundamentals. But they can tidy that up. I mean, this could definitely go the other way.
Warden again tasked with opening this wall. He had some troubles last time. He'll be hoping that he doesn't have the same on this occasion. If his style is very much watching that wall, pre-fires it when it gets popped. Doesn't find his target though. Depcha will open it in the meantime. Now they'll be able to cut off this important cross.
Ippy style lucky not to be super tagged up in that. Warden, nice angle, just missing that shot. Putting a lot of pressure now onto the garage catwalk. Ferox again, good time management. Actually getting that wall open super quick with the Maverick trick this time. It's going to put a heap more pressure onto Okami on site. The nice drone that's now set up in garage, and if Ippy style doesn't spot that, it's really going to come back and help Ferox late round. As we see those outlines getting a lot of map control on the west side as well.
Drone's being flicked through by Ferox as they gain really nice ground inside a con. Todd doing a lot of work with that sledgehammer. Able to drone as well. So Ferox shouldn't be short of intel. They've spent a lot of time trying to work out where these players are. So they try and now make their way in towards side. That grenade used to clear the con wall. Sushi now should be able to open it with an exothermic charge and really get this round underway.
That was also really strange about Cam. So, like, obviously put at top of the wall. Again, some early intel that's not going to be going in the favor of Okami at least. And just the efficiency here from Ferox has got to be putting just mountains of pressure on Okami on site. There's still a minute to go. They've got that CCTV wall open, construction wall open, but the peaks coming out. It's a trade at least from Sushi and Jackdad. Makes it a 4 versus 4, but again, time really working in favor of Ferox.
I don't think anyone from Ferox is actually watching that CC wall. Actually, no, Depcha is there at the moment, maybe all the way on the balcony. A little bit hard to tell, but Ippy will need to be careful inside a garage if he goes for a rotate. Yeah, Depcha's a long way away here. Very high risk strategy as he will drop in that meantime. Ippy could rotate. And he has, there we go, Ippy right on cue. This is super dangerous. Oh, he does get taken out. Depcha finally sweeps in late. 15 seconds now for the execute. Shade going for the plant. Where's the denial from Okami? I don't think they're going to be able to do it, but no, in the dying milliseconds, Mangoes tries to deny, but it's not quite enough. I thought he almost did it. And now it's a 3-on-2 post plant. Mangoes gets taken down, and that's Joker as well. Ferox able to take the round. I dead set thought, I was watching that yellow bus so closely, and when that C4 went off, I was like, oh yeah, Okami, not bad. Pretty last minute denial, but it's pretty good. And no, the diffuser was able to get down, so that was very, very close. Ferox just getting away with that one.
Yeah, and it really should have been Ferox's round all along. They stalled out a little bit in that final moment, and it did give Okami that sniff, that real chance where that C4 denial could have just ended Ferox's opportunity. But they capitalized, and here they are. They're on the front foot in this first half, which is their attack half. For a very likely opportunity here to make it 4-2. And Gym Bedroom last time looked pretty good for Okami. It was still a pretty close round, though. So Ferox so far have impressed me on Clubhouse. They're looking pretty cohesive and very efficient.
Locate and defuse bombs.
Of course, this will be the last round of the half. Okami in a position to potentially draw things out. Ferox looking to extend that lead heading into their defensive half. And I'm sure a 4-2 lead will bode well for the rest of this map. Give them some nice momentum in the series. Of course, it is a best of 2 in 6 Masters. And with this being Ferox's map pick, they'll be looking to give themselves that early lead and try and continue that on to Coastline, which will be our second map.
5 seconds left.
Yeah, that's definitely a map to look forward to. So far, map 1 has been showing it's
Attackers
a
are
really good
moving out to
contest,
locate a
pretty
bomb
tight.
and defuse it.
See what Ferox can do for their final attack of this half. They can set themselves up with a 4-2 advantage going into their defense half. So it's going to be looking pretty good. Jack Daddy, though, might have something to say about that with a bit of a spawn peek on the Deptra. Important operator to take off. The Zofia not having much effect means a lot of utility not used. And Deptra's actually been playing quite well, so that's going to be quite the impact.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Jack Daddy quite content with that. Will make his way all the way towards the CCTV stairs, a position that he's been playing quite often on this map. Placed behind the shield, ready and waiting for any defenders that cross his line of sight. Again, Warden will be on Maverick though. Blowtorch in hand, trying to trick the wall. Definitely a lot quicker on that occasion compared to one of the earlier attempts. Nice line of sight created as well, and should be pretty cut and dry for Ferox to just open up and try to put some more pressure back onto Okami.
Yeah, again, efficiency working well for Ferox, even though they did lose that opening pick. Got some good control there from that jacuzzi balcony. See how far they can spread it. That bathroom wall is double reinforced though, so I mean that does create some kind of hurdle. Normally you'd like to be able to take that fast from control as an attacker as you push through. Cutie spotted out there trying to prone in that bedroom. They're essentially looking right at each other, but that bed in the way. Shade is going to jump in though and just pre-fire it and get back out. Oh, that was really risky there for Shade. That could have backfired dramatically.
Shots continuing to rain out. Oh, okay, Gordon, he'll take down Cutie, so it's now a 4-on-4 scenario. Grenade as well to destroy the shield. Oh, he just misses it though. That could be bad. Joker not in a position to really use it though, so may not be made to pay the price. Pre-fire comes out, doesn't hit his target. Joker aware that he's being pinched at the moment. Will get Todd though. trying to drop the Logi hatch. Now Ferox need to make the decision. Will they try and go for the plant? Shade, if he got that kill, could have helped open up the round, but he just misses. Water, meanwhile, makes a small vault hole inside a bathroom, and it works out. This could net him a kill. Surely that player behind bedroom will be taken out, but no. Mango somehow wins that gunfight. Is finally traded out, though, leaving it all up to Joker in a 2-on-1. Diffuser not in hand. It's been dropped in bathroom, leaving Joker with only one enemy left. It's Sushi. Both players full HP. Sushi running the ACOG. The 5.56 is a very strong weapon. It appears as if Joker's position has been called out, and Joker hasn't really moved since. So no excuses on Sushi not knowing where this player is. He forces his way through the main door, but Joker's there to greet him, and Okami will take the final round in the half.
Again, that really looked like it was going to be Ferox's round. Bit of a misplay from Waternose. He came through that bathroom. He seemed aware that player was playing around the master bed. Not quite finding that shot really gave Okami that look in. And Joker was a great clutch here. They seemed unaware of exactly where he was playing, and playing that hallway with such a strong position from him. So well played. It means the half goes 3-3. Pretty tight contest here, guys.
Oh, it's time to stretch. Getting ready for the OT. Oh, I think it's going to go the distance. I don't know. I'm feeling it. Definitely expected this to be a close night between these two. And overtime definitely looming after the draw in half. Could well be an endurance series between these two. Of course, an OT map can go well over an hour. If that happens on both maps, that's probably close to 2.5 hours at least. There'll definitely be a grind for these two teams.
Like Ferox also going to do in the SSG room. Castle, Mozzie, and Mute being the three key operators there. They're also not running the Kaid with it either. So again, I feel like they're really banking on the fact that this roam has to work out.
10 seconds to go.
The one thing we saw Okami not seemingly doing as well was how they stalled out the intel gathering early round. If you see that happen from Ferox, maybe the round will play a bit different.
Final utility being placed here by Ferox in their first offensive round here on Clubhouse. It is their map pick. Ethereal half, I'm sure they would have liked it to have been at least 4-2. But being that it was their attacking half, I'm sure they'd be relatively content. Definitely gives them a little bit of wriggle room here on the defense. Doesn't look like they're going to be as aggressive though as Okami, and they're already defaulting back towards site. So really putting a lot of trust in that Mute Mozzie combo above to waste time.
I mean, there's going to be a call out that at least one person's dropped back to site there through that gunfight. Sure that they would know that they came back through storage. See how that works out for Okami, but again, like this might be 30 seconds worth of droning, and they've still got half the round to make very little use of what is stopping them. Of course, there's no Kaid on these hatches, so they can use Habana. They've got 3 hard breaches in their lineup. This is something really important to point out here. There is no reason they can't get everything they want open right now.
More drones coming out here. Jack Daddy almost swatting it down, just missing as he's opening up the floor. Again, trying to put more pressure on Ferox, trying to displace those who have fallen back to site, but Shade, he'll drop Jack Daddy. That was the player above, so great counterplay from the castle. We'll open up the round. Cutie tries to find that pick. Doesn't quite do enough damage though, and Shade will scathe away with a sliver of HP.
A bomb has been
They're
located.
using an impact as well to try and damage Cutie. Means that he's only going to be able to do 1 impact on the hatch. So Cutie with 1 X-Kairos in the pocket will be able to safely open this now. Sure it's going to happen soon. Warden still got a pretty good spot there in blue, which doesn't look like TBD, Okami, sorry, have really flushed out so far.
Oh, Raven. At least I wasn't the first to say it.
I felt it almost every time I said Okami, so it was bound to happen.
Okami, of course, previously known as TBD, as shots will rain out. Just over 30 seconds left in the round. Oh, Ferox getting quite aggressive here. on this hatch drop. Depth shot on ADS is just at the wrong time. Won't be able to net that kill. Sushi, meanwhile, still prone holding this doorway as Cutie gets one. Is refragged by Todd, though, as the kills continue to just keep raining out. Sushi and Todd now left to hold out. 15 seconds left. Todd still inside of dirt. This could be very, very risky. He does do some damage, but it's not quite enough. The plant now going down, and it's Sushi left in a peel. One, he accidentally knifes. Can't quite get the kill. And the nice shot comes out in chat. I wonder if Joker saw him knife around the corner. No, he didn't, but he cleans it up. And Okami will take the round.
Yeah, again, I don't think Ferox really were able to burn off enough time with that roam for it to be setting themselves up for success. And then in the end, I think some positioning as well. Todd banking himself on some long angles at the SMG-11 probably made that engagement quite tough there in blue. Sushi looked hesitant if he actually did do his aggressive push out into Moto like he wanted to. I actually think he might have been able to get a double kill out of it. It's hard to say in hindsight, but it looked clear from what we could see. Just some hesitance there might have cost Ferox. They're not going to repeat it just yet, guys. They're going to move on to CCTV and Cash, so we'll see whether they can bring it back.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
This will be the third appearance of this site so far in this series. In fact, Okami won it twice in the first half. And Ferox once. No, am I reading this right? No, this will be the third time. It was won once by each team. Wow. That's some bad math there, guys. So look, it's a 50-50 win rate for each team. There you go. There's some math. If my tracker isn't wrong. I don't think it is.
Back yourself,
5
mate.
seconds to go.
See,
Back myself.
Ferox
Like you
goes?
back yourself with the team name in the last round. Or?
Yeah, you just
Oh,
gotta say
I'm
it.
sorry.
Deal with it later. I'm keen to see what Ferox are going to bring out on CCTV here. The Kaid trick that we're seeing, or Kaid placements that we're seeing, of course, becoming very popular these days, putting them there on the garage rafters. Electrifies those garage walls, so you can't get the classic Habana long angle that you would get from garage towards the catwalk window. So it means you are more comfortable in terms of rotating until, of course, that CCTV wall is opened up. 2 players currently there, so hard holding that Ferox.
Of course, the Maverick will be in full use from Okami. Thatcher taken off the board. I believe Ferox did shotgun out the wall a little bit to make it challenging
Bomb located by
to
attackers.
hit the Maverick trick. Looks like Joker has broken the bottom. I think a little bit might still be attached. That smoke grenade not really helping. Getting this done swiftly. It looks like there is a little bit attached there at the bottom. Drone might
Definitely
be used to
attached.
double check that. And yeah, it definitely is attached.
There we go.
Oh,
He's going to get it. He's going to take some shots, though. He's going to walk into the electricity as well.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Joker is going to be pretty low for engagement here. Have at least got that wall open. That's an errant flash as well. Some errors coming out here for Okami. Zipper Style's also been tagged as very low in an engagement. They're going to work on this construction walls. Time's not been too bad here. As Joker actually does get the pick on the depth chart. That's the Kaid off the board. Okami so far, this attack is looking not too bad. But this low HP might be a little troublesome as they come into their late round engagements.
Ferox with still some key positions hold.
Attackers dropped the diffuser.
Garage being one of those. Jade not feeling too much pressure, but as I say that, he'll be taken down. Great shot there by Cutie.
Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
Pretty much impossible to hit the res from there. Warden is inside of Garage. It wouldn't be anyone else but him. His impact in this round might not be very large though. He's not really in a position to get something done unless he can flank Mango's playing below. Maybe even if he starts swinging in late. Oh, Todd though, he'll clean that one up. There's the last of his smoke grenades there towards Con. As it is effectively a 2-on-4. Shade still down over towards Garage. Very unlikely Warden can make the res. He does get the kill though on Zippy style. Todd still left alone inside. Okami now will enter from Con in towards Cash as they attempt to go for the plant. Warden's down as well, so it's left all up to Todd. Can he deny it in the dying seconds here? That is the question. He gets the first, tries to wallbang the second, but misses, and he gets shot from behind. Okami will take that round, and that could have been a whole lot closer if Todd had rotated back to the top of the stairs.
Oh, yeah, that really could have gone back in Ferox's favor there. Some really strange things coming out from Okami. They seem to have really struggled with that CCTV wall, sorry. And that could have come back to bite them. Worked out well. Ferox definitely just struggling a little on that defense. They're going to move on to gym bedroom for their next site.
We may be heading into a race. I don't think these picks will be locked in. Amari would be very exciting to see. I think it's been a long time since we've seen Amari in some competitive ANZ Siege. I think the last time I remember, I swear it was like homeless in
Attackers need to locate and defuse
invitational qualifiers or something. I can't even remember, but yeah, Amari is not exactly the most what's the word? Useful operator to bring, at least from a team perspective. I mean, yeah, you can hit some cool clips, but that's about it.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of situations where Amaru is really picked at this level. Maybe just a couple of niche plays. I've even seen her picked just because somebody wants an extra G8. So you run like the IQ Amaru combo with double G8s. That can be a pretty gnarly frag combo. But other than that, yeah, we haven't seen a whole lot of play from her. But look, I think at this stage, Okami is starting to run away a little bit from Ferox in this map, which is probably concerning given that it was Ferox's map pick.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see if this rehost affects anything and if that momentum might slow down a little bit, because it does feel like it's compounding. 3 rounds straight now in Okami's favor. Most of those looking pretty convincing for the most part. And Ferox not really having much of an answer. It's going to be up to them to try and bring something to the table here. Because if they start letting it slip, we'll be on match point before you know it. And as we've seen already tonight, that can convert very quickly into a map win.
Yeah, it can. Ferox are definitely going to have to tighten up these defenses a little bit because they're not looking terrible. They just seem to be losing players in that middle round stage. And that was definitely prevalent in that previous round that we just saw on CCTV and Cash, where they still had some good positioning, but with, I think it was Shade and Warden going down in that final stage, it was a lot for Todd to be able to clutch on, and there was definitely some messiness there from Okami. I mean, they really struggled with that CCTV wall. It was really hard for them to blowtorch in the first place, and they never actually opened it. No one with soft breach came across and blew it open or hit it open, and they never shot it open either. So that could have really come back to bite them.
Yeah, I think if Todd maybe had his time again, he wouldn't have gone for that wallbang straight away, because if he rotated all the way back to the main stairs, Joker would not have been able to get that angle on him because the wall physically wasn't open. There was no way of him actually getting in to try and shut him down. So he may have been able to swing wide and get that pick. But of course, I think it's easy to forget that during these moments, I mean, it's hectic. The comms, just the pressure, everyone's sort of, really like tunnel visioning on what they think they need to try and do. So look, can't really fault him on that. You shouldn't be left in a 1-on-3 really in the first place. So look, I'm sure again, if Todd had his time again, he would have done that. But anyway, it's time to move on. And I think it's really time for Ferox as a whole to try and move on, because when you're 5-3 down, it can be easy to drop your heads. We've seen potentially teams earlier tonight, really struggling when those rounds compound against them. So hopefully Ferox during this rehost can take a bit of time to themselves and really try and nail down any of these issues that are arising.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible for them as well, because it's really just basic issues on both defenses that we're seeing so far from them that they need to fix. A couple of it would just be trying to stay alive a little longer in CCTV cache, because once they get map control, so construction and that CCTV wall open, you can try and play a little aggressive, but it just becomes really hard to maneuver around. So you have to be a little more careful, and that's about reading your opponent. And I think one thing that they could have read into more so was that struggle at CCTV wall. The fact that there was no run-in until even after those final seconds. That's something you can exploit a little bit more on the defense. But on top of that church, that roam never worked out. I mean, they defaulted off that so quickly. And all they need is just to burn more time with that, so that when they're on site, even though it's a little bit more sketchy, maybe late round, at least time works on their side as well. So it's just some small things, and I really think Ferox can crawl themselves back into this game.
Yeah, I think that's interesting that you mention the SSG roam, if that's what you want to call it, not really working out for either team. Not only has it not really gotten them kills, but on top of that, it hasn't wasted a whole lot of time. On both occasions when both teams have attempted it, either one, in the case of Okami, they lost members early and were really struggling to recover for the rest of the round. Or you have the second scenario where Ferox don't lose the men early necessarily, but they're rotating back to site so quickly. It's like the roam doesn't really have any effect anyway. So I think these teams going forward need to try and strike a balance between those, because it pretty clearly just hasn't been working the way they would have envisioned it.
Yeah, and if you're going to default back early, which is in some occasions fine. I mean, those mute jammers and those Mozzie pests will still delay a bit of time of droning, which it seemed to a little bit at least when Okami were trying to attack. But if you also have that fallback, I've highlighted a bit with that Kaid. I mean, they had a Maestro, for example. This is Ferox on their defensive church. They had a Maestro, which is totally expendable for that Kaid. The Maestro doesn't really serve a whole lot in that instance until late round. And if you're banking on something at late round, you're accepting your roam isn't going to work out. So if you're already accepting that, you might as well bring the Kaid and then create another stall point mid-round of trying to open hatches and walls. So then when it finally comes down to execute, they have very minimal time. I think that's much more important, at least in my eyes, for making that kind of defense work. So yeah, I'm really curious to see whether we can see some changes from Ferox, seeing as they're the ones on defense now, to make that church hold work a little better. Because definitely with the Thatcher ban, that can be better abused.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely interesting, or at least something that should be flagged, is Okami is currently second, I believe, in the standings compared to Ferox, who actually going into this, I think, are sixth. So, look, maybe we're putting too much pressure on Ferox to perform here. Maybe we wouldn't expect them to do so well against a team that's higher in the standings. But I do think that when we take into consideration the players that Ferox have, that we would expect them to perform. I mean, they have experience on their team. They also have some young guns as well that have been performing pretty well. So despite this map so far maybe not quite going their way, we can't ride them off, I think, not even for the rest of this series or the rest of this map, but even just the season as a whole, because they're pretty dangerous. When Ferox are on, like, they are on. We've seen them do it in the past. They've been able to shut down some pretty good teams.
Yeah, I mean, a side effect of how they played last week against Wildcard in that fantastic tight series is that you are going to have higher expectations on you. And I think that's fair. I mean, there's 2 new players into this roster, but they are bringing some experience and they've had some time to work with it. Not so much Todd. Of course, that was a very last-minute inclusion for Six Masters on Team Ferox. But regardless, last week, I think really was their benchmark. They were very close to taking a map, if not both maps, off Wildcard. That really was a reality at one stage last week. And Wildcard are the team sitting on top. So if you go by that and look at pure numbers and that kind of thing, they should be able to take at least a map off Okami, and they should be able to stack up pretty well. So on their map pick, the fact that they're trailing 5-3, that's definitely a bit of a concern, but I definitely think they can bring it back as well. It's totally possible on a clubhouse defense half to just win the next 4 rounds.
Yeah, well, I mean, looking back at the last time Ferox played this map, it was against Wildcard, and that was a 7-5 loss. So arguably, you could say they played even better against Wildcard, or it was closer, at least as we sit currently. So there's potential for Ferox, as you mentioned, to bring it back. We might even see an overtime. It's far from outside the realm of possibility because, again, defense, clubhouse, no Thatcher. It's pretty rough to attack, and we've already seen that so far tonight.
I mean, the other thing with that too is they can come back, as you said, on the defense half. And with their match against Wildcard, I'm pretty sure on both maps they were down at least some substantial amount and brought that back. So it's not something they haven't done before, at least. It's definitely something they're capable of.
Yeah, well, we've got word that we're jumping very, very soon. Raven has been kind enough to press the big green button. Here we go. Boom. Raven, let's get us in. Thank you so much. I know you wanted to talk for a while there, but there is a game to attend to, and we will do so.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
That's all right. You know, I'm happy to rehost with you.
Good.
Do what
I'm
must be done.
happy to see that Ferox are going to be doing gym bedroom. We get to see something a little bit different out of this defense.
Attackers need to locate and defuse
Indeed,
bombs.
indeed. I was about to correct you there and say this is the second time, but for some reason I put bedroom as last objective, and of course if you win an objective you can't go there. Oh, the attackers won it. So now I'm just putting myself down a world of hurt right now. I'm just gonna shush. Oh no, it's all gone wrong. The rehost is just does things to your head, I swear.
It does. Not gonna lie. After last week, I think I'm immune to rehost now. But the Ferox are, of course, dedicating a lot over here to catch this XTB. Very important part of holding gym bedroom.
5
Of
seconds
course,
left.
extending across to the east, because if you give that map control to your attacking opponent too early,
Out to locate a
well, then
bomb.
they're basically right next to site, and then all they need is some pressure from the windows, jacuzzi wall, and it's so hard to stay on site, stay alive at all. See how Ferox do holding that, because from memory, Ferox were actually doing a good job of attacking it by not attacking it. You know what I mean? They got the jacuzzi wall open early, windows, and that put a lot of pressure onto Okami to start rotating back towards site.
So it's jumping back in. 5-3 is the scoreline. Okami 1 round away from securing match point. And if that's the case, there'll be 2 scenarios. Either 1, they win the map, or 2, will head to overtime. Of course, there is overtime in Six Masters 2020, unlike Pro League. So they won't see any draws, at least within a map. Of course, the series can be drawn, being a best of 2 if each team wins one. But we're a while away from seeing the conclusion of that. Looks like some nice progress has been made by the attackers early on here.
Todd, the lone soldier there in Cash, rocking the beautiful Grand Larceny Wamai uniform and headgear. Stalling out Okami quite heavily at the moment. I mean, almost half the round burned out. They've dedicated so much to take this, and still no fruit from their labor here. In fact, they're the ones that have lost HP. In fact, that finally does get that opening pick, as Joker gets another, in fact. Ferox falling apart a little bit in such quick succession means that Okami are now sitting in a good spot for this round.
Minute 15 to go. Todd staring down the barrel of death here, really. Surely it's only a matter of time before he gets taken out. So many members ready to pinch him, waiting to time it just right. Todd just sitting there, ready and waiting, trying to find at least 1 pick. Meanwhile, there's some pressure going on towards bedroom as well. C4 from Sushi comes out. Won't do any damage though. Potentially a little bit wasteful as Todd. There we go. He will be pinched, and now it's a 5-on-2, and Ferox not looking too good in this round. Depth shot gets aggressive, gets 1, goes for the jump out, but doesn't get the second. And now it's Sushi left in a 1-on-4. He's inside of Logi. I think they know where he is. Uses that to his advantage and gets the first, but the wall bang from Cutie will shut him down. And Raven, they will now be on match point. Oof.
Nice shot, Cutie. And that was probably their best attack yet, in fact. They got quite stalled out in CCTV Cash for a while. But as I said, quick succession, Ferox just fell apart. And Okami, they're up 6-3. Haven't lost a round in the second half, so their attack's looking really good on Clubhouse. And that's quite dangerous to Ferox, given that this is their map pick. And I just remembered, guys, a point I was going to make in the rehost was Ferox, given the fact that they are rebuilding their roster a little bit, as I said, 2 new additions, that means they don't have as much of a depth in map pool, right? And they've played Clubhouse a little bit, as fresh as last week. So Okami have probably had a really good opportunity to counter-strat that. And that means that Ferox are going to have to do a lot of adapting on the fly.
Another stat I think that is important to flag here is, so far from what I've tracked, the 9 rounds that have been played, there's only been 1 plant go down. And if you compare that to the match we had earlier tonight, that is way down from what we came to expect in the last matchup between Pittsburgh and Kanga. There were upwards of 3-4 plants, even in a half. So to only see 1 in the entire map so far is definitely a shift in playstyle.
I think that's to be expected with these teams as well. We talked about it in the pre-show that both of them known for different forms of aggression.
Attackers objective
That
is to
usually
locate
doesn't
a bomb
favor
and defuse it.
focusing on the plant. They have really been going for the frag bites. And some really early droning on the strip side. So Okami may be a bit concerned that there might be a Ferox member roaming over there. A push over. One important thing here, though, is that Ferox are not doing the hard roam strat anymore. In fact, they're defaulting all the way back to side. It looks like it's more of a turtle strat here. I.e., that is going to present some kind of obstacle, but Okami also have 3 hard breaches.
Ferox playing pretty close to site. Warden is really the furthest away, and he's only all the way over at Oil Pit. Not far at all. Gives Joker the freedom to take his time, torch open the hatch. That'll free up Mango's exothermic charges for other uses, and Cutie's X-Kairos as well, so the triple hard breach combo could prove quite spicy. Deptra will drop Jack Daddy inside a kitchen, so great C4 from him. Ferox looking to try and crawl this one back.
Being very careful as well. He wants to try and get kitchen hatch open, but not only is it electrified, players playing below make him a little bit concerned. He's going to use one X-Kairos on dirt at least.
Attackers have
Not really
located a
looking
bomb.
like he's going to attempt anything else with kitchen. That hatch looks like it might remain closed. Sticking potentially just the church blue push. Deptra is playing deep in dirt still, waiting to see if somebody pushes through, but not happening. The longer this goes on, the more this favors Ferox, given that they've got the man advantage, and of course the clock is such an important part of attacking church.
Mango is critically with the diffuser in hand. He's currently inside of Moto. Warden could be pinched. A little bit risky crossing the softball there to the right, but gets away with it.
Bomb located by attackers.
Yippee style droning him from the top of the blue stairs. Mangoes could potentially be in a position to try and clean him up if he rotates, but no, he makes his way back to the reinforced wall. Warden just proving to be a massive pain here. Will be lit up, but it's really not much damage.
They're just seeing him cross back and forth, bit of a pain there, and they're not able to really land anything meaningful. I mean, he got one bullet maybe hit on him. And that's just delayed so much time. I mean, it feels like it was 40 seconds ago that I brought up the clock, and there's been no progress here from Okami. It means that there really can be a good stall out from this smoke on this Moto door. Ipistol does finally get Warden, though, so that blue control has been obtained, but the smoke proving too strong. Okami, though, all of a sudden out of nowhere, Ipistol with the triple. Deptra, all up to you, son. You're going to have to try and clutch this out. He sees the arm on the plant, though. Disturbs it. 4 seconds to go. It's going to have to be stuck. Got one player to worry about. Oh! He gets it, guys!
You have run out of time.
Oh, Deptra, what an angle from blue.
Deptra, no. I don't think you're allowed to do that. What the? Okay. That was absolutely disgusting. I think that's the first time I've ever seen that pistol ever be useful, to be honest. Wow, wait. That was nuts.
Yep, I think Okami aren't going to be too happy with themselves after their great effort of just exploding onto site. I mean, everything was against them, and they double pushed through that smoke and were able to take church so well. Just didn't hold on. That means that Ferox live another day on this map. 2 more rounds to take it to overtime. It's definitely possible.
Oh boy. It's like I believe hit that shot. That was absolutely nutty.
Attackers need to locate and
Oh,
defuse as many bombs.
Okami, fortunately for them, are still on match point though. Just need one more. And it never really felt like in that last round they were in a position to win it. As you mentioned time and time again, like, they weren't making any progress. And when they did, like, it was explosive. And then there was that position where they felt like they might win. So I retract my previous comment. There was a position where they felt like they were going to win. But they left it very, very late. And when you leave a push like that so late, there's always a chance that there'll be a rogue defender somewhere that could deny the plant. And look, it was only a matter of millimeters in that last one, but Ferox were able to just pull through.
5 seconds left before insertion.
See how they go for this gym bedroom hold. It was the one they
Attackers'
held
objective is to locate a bomb and
2 rounds ago. It didn't really work out too great. I mean, they had quite a good stall in CCTV cash, but they ended up losing the men in quick succession at around the midpoint of the round. And then that was really it. Okami just held onto that pressure and never brought it back. You have to make some adaptations here. I think, again, if they can delay CCTV cache take, but keeping the men, well, then they're going to be in a much better position.
Joker will use the torch to drop a mid-jammer as Deptra uses his gun to drop Hippie style. So that will be Sophia down and out. And Hippie style, a play you'd normally want to be shutting down early. Of course, a bit hard to read into the stats after the rehost, but it hasn't felt like it's had a massive game by his standards. But of course, I'm sure it will be a good feeling to drop him off the board.
Yeah, even when he seems like he's having an off game or a rough game, he still has those rounds that he can just frag out, and that can be enough to help his team. So having those players off the board, really important. Some really interesting positions held here from Ferox. That castle angle, very aggressive. And oh, the peek from Warden from the stair hallway. Good night, Cutie. And this is looking much better for Ferox on this defense.
It's a 5-on-3 in favor of the trailing team. But we did see Okami almost crawl back a similar position in the last round, albeit unsuccessful in the end. So I wouldn't put it past him to do something similar here.
Bomb located by attackers.
Jack Daddy trying to find a pick. That shield causing a lot of issues, and that C4 has absolutely decimated him. Shade gets one as well, and now Joker needs the ace clutch to bring this back. 60 seconds on the board. And he's basically just left to sit there, and I think he might not even attempt it. Maybe his team will have a little bit of a word and try and work out what they're going to try and do next. I thought for a second there that it froze, but there is a player in basement moving. Everyone is just sitting there, just, you know, sipping a cup of tea. Nothing too interesting happening.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good demonstration of how patient the defense is playing. It's a common thing that teams get a little bit itchy in a late round, 5v1. Oh, we could probably get the final frag. I'm going to push. But no, Ferox are playing nice and disciplined, which is great to see. And look, why not? They've got the momentum. They're only, after this, as long as they do secure it, they'll only be one round away from overtime. Really critical they don't change how that feels for them. And likewise, I think it's probably important that Okami give themselves that pseudo timeout. Ferox will close it out though, guys. Flawless round in the end.
Indeed it was. 3 players shooting at the final attacker in the end. Definitely not the sight you want to see entering con. I wonder if Okami can bring that momentum back. They've lost 2 in a row now. They had an opportunity, as you mentioned at the end there, to have a little bit of a timeout of sorts. Maybe have a quick word on what maybe went wrong there and how they can improve. But the thing is, it's not a whole lot of time between rounds. It might feel like it sometimes, but in reality, if you're trying to fix issues, it's tough. Trying to play on the fly is really a trait that only the best of the best have. And look, Okami need to try and prove their worth. Try and bring something new to the table here, or else we will be heading to OT.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Momentum has swung back in favor of Ferox. It was Okami that actually had 4 rounds in a row to get them to the point that they were. But now with 2 in a row going back to Ferox, it has really nullified that momentum that we had on the side of Okami. And CCTV cache last time, look, it was close. This was the round before the rehost. And it was the one that Todd was so close to clutching. It was super close. Came down to the final second where he just got fragged out by, I believe it was Joker there on the CCTV wall. And there were just a lot of fundamental issues that we were seeing on the side of Okami that led to the fact that it was a close round.
5 seconds left.
Sushi, interestingly, changing up his evil eye a little bit there. Helping to provide some additional intel for his team. Ferox electing not to bring the Valkyrie. We did see Okami on a couple of occasions bring it, I believe. Of course, Echo and Mirror were the 2 defensive bands. You can see those at the top of your screen. Pretty standard for this map. And you know what else is standard for this map, Raven? The Maverick trick.
Maverick trick?
Yes.
Yes, sir. And we'll see how Joker goes this time, because boy, he had some troubles in the previous round that he was doing this. Probably thanks to that soft debris destruction that you do see there, pre-made by Ferox. They are doing that because it makes some inconsistency of the depth that the blowtorch penetrates. Why you sometimes see those bits left over, but hey, that was actually really efficient there from Joker. It's now openable. It's still 2 minutes to go. Pretty sure I just heard it explode, so they're way ahead of where they were last time.
Minute 50 on the board. Ferox cramped up over towards the main stairs. Currently 3 players there trying to fight for some position. Meanwhile, as Mangoes finds himself inside of construction, shooting above the wall there. Likely for Jack Daddy to come across very shortly, nade over the top and get rid of that electro claw. Flashes raining out as well to try and clear the ADS. Again, Okami trying to take their time, make sure they really clear this utility properly. Oh no, that is... I curse Mangoes, I'm sorry. Wow.
Again, a bit sloppy with throwables there. And I mean, at least they got this wall open, but they haven't had as much pressure as required so far elsewhere. Especially from that construction side. I mean, Mangoes is there holding it, just waiting for teammates to rotate so they can finally open it. And that's what's going to be enabled now. But maybe they're not expecting the impact here from Sushi. If he hits this perfectly, not actually going to work out. So that could have been huge for Ferox. Mangoes does actually get tagged out by Warden. That's on a flank, it looks like, from the outline. And he's going to get the double guards. That could be pushing it to overtime now for Ferox. It's a great spot to be in.
Joker, though, he will get Shade back. Cutie left on that balcony. That's a very, very dangerous vault in. Oh, Sushi almost gets that pick. As it looks like the entry will come through. Warden gets his 3rd, so that will be Cutie taken down. Joker critically made his way in towards site. Nade will come out in towards Cash. Can he use that distraction to pick up the kill? No, he pre-fires the wrong angle. And that's Tippy style, left in a 1-on-3. We mentioned earlier, he's maybe a little bit of a quieter map. Can he come up big here? Getting lit up as he jumps through the window. Will be taken down. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be heading to overtime.
He said it was possible, and they looked dangerous. And once they got 1 round, 2 rounds, I mean, it came back to that clutch from Deptra. Church Arsenal, it was round 10, Guz. A 1v2 as the plant was going down for Okami. That would have been the map, done and dusted. Really adds that extra weight to that clutch coming out from Deptra. And yeah, we're on overtime now. Both halves, 3-3, so not leaning to either side. So it doesn't really say that it favors anybody here and what they're on with overtime. It does have Ferox starting on defense though.
Church and Arsenal will be the site of choice here for Ferox, who, as you mentioned, of course, are on the defense. Lineup is suggesting a roam above.
Attackers need to locate.
This was something we discussed during the rehost. Neither team really having pulled it off to full effect. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see just how committed Ferox are to that roam and how long it'll take before they pull the pin.
I'm kind of surprised because, I mean, the attempt that they had that didn't work out was the roam. And yeah, there was some pretty big issues with how they held the roam. The one that did work out, and truth be told, that was the clutch that we were just previously talking about. But that came off a turtle defense. I mean, that turtle defense enabled that scenario to happen. I'm super keen to see how this roam changes up, because so far, from both sides, we've seen not much effect out of the roam strat.
Well, it does look like Ferox have committed to it. The mute Aussie combo is in full effect above. Will cause some issues when these attackers in Okami try and drone above. The question really lies in, will Ferox hold above? And so far it's looking like they're already going back down. So that is purely to waste time, that utility. I don't know where... Is it Warden? Where's Warden? Warden's going to be over... Oh, he's above. Okay, he's inside of CCTV. Of course, he's the one roaming. Warden loves a good roam. Gets spotted out though, so he might make his way back to site pretty quickly here. Or not.
This is very risky, doubling down on Warden's skills here essentially as a solo roamer, because if he is simply pinched out, well then Okami know that's the room clear, and also they have man advantage. that could really easily fall apart for them. In fact, Okami aren't heavy pushing into it. Warden is shut down, so that is a great position for Okami to be in now with just under 2 minutes to play. A lot of time to get things open.
Of course, Okami may not 100% know it, but all of Ferox are now positioned below, so there's no real danger in freely moving above site. Mango's, interestingly enough, heading towards the top floor. We'll head back down, though, and likely try to get some of these hatches open. Style holding that flank, and Cutie, the second hard breach of the three, will head in towards the kitchen. Seen this hatch impact tricked time and time again. Will Ferox pull it off this time? It looks like they have. Cutie tries to find that player, but doesn't. Ippy Style does find his own. That will be the Mozzie off the board, and Okami looking like they may well be able to win this round.
Well, most importantly, that's the blue player. And it's a bit alarming that Ferox haven't retaken that because it's such important map control to hold. If Ippy Style sees that it's clear and can push down, well then Sushi in Church is going to be totally pinched. This could really steamroll towards an Okami round here. Sushi is under a lot of pressure right now. Push from Moto. Habana holds open. He gets a nice shot onto Cutie though, and hits a good shot into Moto. Sushi single-handedly bringing it back for Ferox. 30 seconds to go. This might actually be salvageable.
Todd makes it a 2-on-3. This round has slipped away from Okami just when it looked like it was going to be theirs. It's gone against him. Joker inside of blue, Ippy Style as well. Both players will surely get sprayed down. There we go. Sushi gets his triple. And it's Joker left alone in a 1-on-2. Surely he'll be taken down as well. Sushi lights him up. Joker super low. He's going to get onto his evil eye. But Todd will clean him up in the meantime. And Ferox will bring that round back off the back of the Maestro. So well played by Sushi.
He did end up with a triple, and it was the first two that were huge. Killing the player at main stairs, and then a nice shot onto Moto. It meant Diffuser was down on Moto. Equal man count with not much time to go. Critical error, I think, from Okami. Not sure if they realized that the blue was free, but if Ippy Style had quickly taken that, he would have at least been able to trade Cutie before Mangos was taken in Moto. So well played by Sushi and Ferox to bring that back, and they're now a match point, guys. That's 4 rounds in a row.
Pretty crazy scenes here. Ferox 1 round away from closing out the map, giving them a 1-0 lead in tonight's series. Of course, if you are just joining us, Coastline will be the second map between these two. And look, if this map hasn't tickled your fancy in the action department, I'm sure Coastline will. That's going to be absolutely insane. The amount of soft breach on that map will definitely turn things up. But I mean, the action in this map has definitely been fruitful. Particularly, I mean, you can feel the intensity rising in these later rounds. Army just letting it slip away. Not only that last round, but the last 4. The momentum is completely against them. It's now a mental game trying to get back into this one. They do have defense to fall back on. Question is, will it be enough?
10 seconds to go.
Last time that Ferox attacked this, they actually won it. Have it that it was a plant. So that shows that they probably had some good control. I don't fully remember it. The way that might be. Alarm bell starting to sound here for Okami. They are doing this extended roam again. Ferox should be well aware of. See how they deal with it. Comes down to some really efficient clearing of CCTV wall and construction. Well, I think it really is going to be Ferox's game, but we'll see what the round has for us.
Keep in mind, this isn't Ferox's map pick. They'd be expecting to close this one out, but both teams fighting for critical points, trying to make the top 4. Both of them going into this season with that expectation. Someone take a bit of damage there. It may have been Warden trying to open up that wall again. Maverick will be utilized. Deptra comes through with the lifeline and we'll open it up completely now. Trying to find an angle inside a garage. There is a player prone, but Warden doesn't quite hold it long enough, taking too much damage from that electrified wall.
Unfortunate too, because I felt like if he held that long enough, I believe it's Ippy Style playing the rafters, he might have been able to find that nice deep angle. as that player is moving around. Not to be, but this is good early pressure here from Ferox in this attack. Just something they showed time and time again in their attack half that they were quite good at establishing. It's just going to come down to how Okami can hold sight here, and if there's any tricks up their sleeve, or there's any way they can poke some holes into the back of Ferox maybe on these attacks, but it's going to be tough with still half the round to play.
That's such a risky position from Depcha. He's so far away that he's got really nice angles, but really has to back his aim to go for the shot. Flippy style backs himself and gets one. Is traded back. He is down. Joker's showing no hesitation, going straight in for the raise, trying to get up one of the fraggers on the team, and he will actually, so it's a pretty big play from Okami. Sushi, though, will drop him again, and now it's a 4-on-4.
Yeah, so I mean, justice really served there, seeing as Ipistol was down on that jump out, but look, pretty important jump out, taking out Warden. He's quite a strong player for Ferox. Deptra too, I mean, he's been showing up, so that's man advantage now back in the favor of Okami with only 45 seconds to go. Starting to hear a lot of utility come out that's going to stall them a little bit. Shade wanting to get this pinch. He sees the back of the player on the stairs. He actually gets it. Cutie unaware. Might even get the second one. It is actually traded back here, guys. 30 seconds to go.
Big nade from Todd drops Joker, so it's a 2-on-2. Ferox 2 frags away from closing out the map. C4 comes out, but doesn't find a target. Kami not really able to sit still inside at the moment. As Todd and Sushi will now push through. Jack Daddy, though, drops one, leaving it all up to Todd. One of the newest members of the team needs to go massive here to close out the map, or we are heading to extended overtime. Ferox need to try and find both. Todd does find the first, but he's going to run out of time. The wall bang almost hits the second, but it isn't meant to be. 7-7 the scores, and we're heading to the final round.
Boy, I felt close, guys. I felt like Todd was just looming on Jack Daddy. He just needed that extra 1 or 2 seconds if he could peek that rotate. We've definitely spotted Jack Dad. Tight as it can get here. We're going to see another 8-7 coming out of 6 Masters. We've seen so many of them so far. Truly exciting. And there's Ferox on the defense. They're going to be holding Gym and Bedroom.
Gym and Bedroom will be the playground for the final round. It's an objective that we've seen played quite a few times tonight. In fact, we've seen it played once, twice, 3, 4 times. And in fact, Okami just have the edge. They won it 2 times in the first half, once in the second, followed up by Ferox, who won it in the 11th round as a part of their 4-round streak in the second half. Look, definitely could go either way. Wow, this game's... Look, I thought it was going to be close, but this is even closer than I think it was going to be. I thought, in all honesty, Okami may have been able to just edge out on top, especially when they were on match point. But look, Ferox not going down without a fight, that's for sure.
Yeah, huge credit to Ferox on the comeback as well. But even though they were on the defense half in that second half, Okami just seemingly were running on top of them. But the mental fortitude, they hung on. They brought it back to overtime. They got that first round of overtime. It was really good use of momentum. And now, I mean, if patterns are telling us anything, guys, it would be that Ferox would win this round. But you know, of course, it's not all about patterns or statistics. It's about actually making it happen. So Ferox can get good early control here. They're going to be in the box seat to win the map.
Up to Ferox to put pen to paper. I definitely thought Warden was going to wide pick that and maybe now to get a kill, but he thought better of it, instead dropping Oil Pit. Warden going 4-4 after the rehost. Not a bad few rounds from him. Not sure if he was detected there, if it was a pre-fire coming up from Ippy style that was unintended for him either way. Warden does skate away with full headshot.
Warden just dancing around bullets from 2 different directions there. Managing to get away, not even tagged somehow. That definitely could have been danger for both teams there. I mean, if Warden was able to get an opening pick, could have been disaster for Okami, but likewise, I mean, Warden's an important player for Ferox. If he's taken out super early, it's a lot of pressure back on the rest of the team. Todd's actually defaulted back to side a bit earlier than normal this time. He was the one that was hard holding cash in previous rounds. But that does make a difference on this defense.
Minute 40 left on the board, more utility being expended, of course. Those magnets regenerate over the course of the round, so the longer Todd is alive, the more he can place around the map. I feel like there's been a whole lot of movement yet from Okami, and that timer ticking down quite quickly. As I say that though, they will push in now towards CCTV, or at least attempt to. Not really a whole lot of presence from Ferox, so it definitely feels like Okami being stalled out by pretty much nothing at the moment.
Yeah, I think they're just unsure that cash is actually clear. They have taken a lot of time there. And even now that they've got this map control, coming into the final minute, it's not a whole lot to get the rest happening. So far, I've got to say this feels like it's in favor of Ferox, but of course, we've seen Okami just explode before and flip that on its head. Well, up to Ferox to just sit tight and to try and hold fast.
Oh, Ippy style gets the first onto Sushi. Big kill from him. Takes down a C4 as well. It could be critical in how the rest of this round plays out. It looks like Okami now setting up for a push from the southern balcony, maybe even vault in towards Jim. Todd's in trouble if that shield gets taken down. It looks like it will be very difficult. A lot of those magnets and ADS devices causing issues. This really could go either way. There's 20 seconds left on the board. The drop shot from Todd will be punished, and now it's a 5-on-3. More utility being used as Shade gets one back. Can he find another? There is a player at that con window. He doesn't quite see him. The timing is terrible, and he'll be taken down. And now it's Zeptra. Left to try and clutch it up. He gets the first, but he can't get the second. And Okami will take the map 8-7. What a performance, coming up clutch there. They had match point for so long in this series. They managed to bring it back in the end. Wowee, what a performance from them in that final round.
Oof. Tight map there, guys. And again, it really felt like Deptra might have been able to get that clutch, just getting that kill onto the diffuser carrier. It could have really gone in favor of Ferox. So really close map. 8-7 justifies how that felt. And that is only map 1, guys. We still have Coastline.
Man, I need a breather after that one. That was quite intense. I think both the teams will need a breather as well. Okami, I mean, some would say they were a little bit lucky to get away with that in the end because they were on match point for so long. They didn't close it out. There was a real threat they were going to lose that map, but in that final round, the last 30 seconds, they showed up, just edged over Ferox in the end.
Yeah, and even that last round, super close. I think it came down to some really critical errors on Ferox's side. Sushi just getting a little aggressive, trying to peek that billiards window. Gave himself away. I had a couple of tap fires coming out from him on a long angle, hard to hit with SMG-11. Was punished with Ippy style through the bar. And then Todd, just bad timing, hitting the prone just as the shield got blown up. Meant that he couldn't really take a clean ADS gunfight onto that window. And that was the first 2 picks that really gave Okami that look in. And then from there on, they just had that man advantage, traded it out. But still, credit to Ferox. They really held deep and long. And again, it's another 7-8 against one of these top 3 teams.
And I guess the question is now, will map number 2 be as close, or will Ferox sort of run out of fuel because that was their map pick?
Hard to say. I mean, Coastline's going to be very interesting because Ferox have played well in it previously. I mean, so have Okami, and it is Okami's pick. I really find it tough to call, especially how map 1 played out.
Well, that's map number 1 done and dusted. Okami taking it 8-7. But come back on the other side of this short break, we'll have map number 2.
Attackers are activating the diffuser. Seconds remaining. Attackers spotted. 10 seconds left.
Please hold. Your call is very important to us. All operators are busy at this time.
never thought you were sitting next to me. I don't understand. It's just I never seen you smile. You wanna make out, give me a second. It's just you never talk, I never listen. When do we fall in love? Make up your mind, honey, 'cause I can't pretend to like you. I hope you feel the same. I take a chance and not lose. I can't pretend to like you. I can't pretend to like you. I hope you feel the same. I take a chance and not lose. I can't pretend to like you. You need a friend. I can't help this time. I'm in trouble. It's your eyes, I can't seem to focus. It doesn't matter 'cause you live a lie. You want attention from every guy in the park. But when you call, give you my heart. You rip it out. I can't pretend to like you. I hope you feel the same. I take a chance and not lose. I can't pretend to like you. I can't pretend to like you. I hope you feel the same. I take a chance and not lose. I can't pretend to like you. I can't pretend to like you. I hope you feel the same. I take a chance and not lose. I can't pretend to like you.
So far from close. It's so hard to find my destiny. Try not to drift apart, 'cause you'll be right back at the start. And I don't wanna keep on falling.
G'day folks and welcome back to Six Masters 2020 Playday number 5. I'm Guz, and joining me for tonight's final map, it is Raven. Man oh man, that last one, Clubhouse 8-7, what an absolute cracker.
Nuts map, man. It was super close from Ferox and Okami, and I think it was really deserving of how the map played out. Both teams played really well. Of course, we had even halves, which led us to overtime. I think 8-7, yeah, super fitting.
Yeah, and I think the massive storyline coming out from that one was the fact that Okami had match point for so long and they just weren't able to close it out. And in the end, Ferox tried to capitalize, but didn't quite have it. That final round, a lot of things not going their way. And Okami were the victors heading into what will be our second map, Coastline.
Yeah, and something I've just been looking at, which I really want to point out, is that is the third overtime win for Okami so far or third overtime match, I should say, sorry. 2 of them they've won, 1 of them they lost. So they're really only scraping through with their maps in general. They're under a lot of pressure at the moment. So I don't know, I still feel like Ferox have a pretty good shot coming into Coastline. They've played alright on Coastline in the past, so they've, yeah, definitely got a chance.
Yeah, I think I'm almost in 2 minds because it is Okami's pick. I'm thinking maybe they're just going to blow them out of the water and just get it over and done with. They're probably not too happy with how close that last map went. Or on the flip side, as you mentioned, we could see this one go maybe even closer in some respects to that last map. It's going to come down to, I think, the first few rounds because Coastline is one of those maps that really rewards aggression and having that momentum. And if you lose it in those first few rounds, I reckon it will definitely come back to bite that team.
Yeah, I mean, it does usually tend towards attackers, Coastline. So we'll have to see how the halves tend to pan out. In the past, we have seen Ferox have some really nice attack halves on Coastline. It was pre-roster change though. Post-roster change, we only really have one result. They lost Coastline 4-7 to the Knights. That was their first ever map of 6 Masters. So definitely going to be some cobwebs, rustiness, some difficulties with this new roster. They've had some time to work on it again now. And hopefully they've been able to prep a little bit more, because one thing they really struggled with was actually their defenses on Coastline last time.
Yeah, and something I was going to mention was the fact that maybe their momentum from the previous map could carry into this, but with overtime, forcing each team to attack and defend, I think that's basically thrown out the window. So this could be anyone's game. Okami versus Ferox, map number 2. It is, of course, Coastline. Let's see how this series will shape up. Okami with the 1-0 lead heading into it. Ferox looking to try and at least finish up with a draw.
Yep, trying to claw something back, see whether the bans will have any say in the matter. Of course, hard breach bans not as common on Coastline. Maybe an Habana, but other than that, not as common. Whoa, there it is actually. I'm kind of surprised. I mean, like, I don't think it has a massive impact personally. Just some angles that you used to have to, well, you have to use thermite now for, like VIP wall, for example, in towards billiards. You have to use a thermite, but that's not a massive deal. The main hurdle with no Habana is that you can't open those holes on the billiards wall, or the drinks wall there for holding billiards. I don't think that's a huge deal though, personally. So I'm really curious. Ferox are the ones that pulled out the ban. We'll see whether it actually has an impact. Okami are attacking first.
Oof. What was the oof about?
I felt like that last sentence was really hard to finish because, I don't know, it just seemed tricky.
Yeah. Okami. Oh, it's just weird. I don't know. I think I'm starting to get used to it. Of course, this is the first time they're playing under the rebrand, as Echo will finish off the bans. So pretty much outside of maybe the Habana to an extent. It's nothing too crazy.
Oh, Mirror and Echo, in fact, I believe have been the defense bans all night. So nothing too crazy there at all. Generally an intel denial, and I don't want to deal with this style of ban. Ferox are the ones starting on the defense, and they're going to be going to kitchen first. So again, I said they struggled last time I saw them play this in 6 Masters with their defenses on this map. So this will really be the telling sign on whether they have been able to fix some things.
Very interested to see just how aggressive this matchup will be. Coastline
Attackers need
with
to
so
locate
much
and defuse as
soft
many
destructibility,
bombs as they can.
leads often. Just
Attackers
absolute
discover the
dogfights,
location
a
of a
lot of
bomb.
trades, and a lot of fragging. Playstyle that both these teams are familiar with. I mean, saw that on display even on Clubhouse, a map that ordinarily doesn't have that sort of playstyle. Very excited to see how this one will shape up. Of course, Okami on the attack first have arguably the favoured side. The question is, will they bring enough to the table to
10 seconds left.
secure these first few rounds?
Bomb located by attackers. 5 seconds.
Curious too how this Dockery pick is going to work out for them. Ferox don't have a mute, so no
Attackers'
hard
objective
counters to
is to
those
defuse
calls.
the bomb.
Might be just really looking to assist with either a roam clear or setting up for an execute. Due to the nature of how Ferox like to do their flanks, particularly Warden and Shade, historically in the past, are the ones that would be doing that. Those calls can really facilitate as they're about to execute, bring out the call and see if you hear something behind you.
Shade is roaming above, Borden alongside. I think you will more often find Warden off site than on it. He does a damn good job at wasting time and getting picks. Depcha got Jack Daddy off the board. Almost for a split second thought that was Warden taking out for some reason. I would have been angry at myself for cursing him, but either way it is Jack Daddy left to sit outside near ruins. And Depcha, hello. Okay. I think that's probably the easiest kill that Ippy Styles ever gotten.
good trade. Does mean that it's going to be 4 versus 4. All the early stages of the round here. Warden has made it back to site. Todd's still one deepest off. In fact, he's around blue bar office stage. And that means that Okami do have the ever important VIP control. And that QD is pledged with that control. He's going to start opening up the floor, which makes Kitchen the worst place possible to be as a defender. It really is hell once that floor starts opening up.
Todd will drop Ippy Star. Some of the slowest refrags ever on this map coming out. It does eventually come into fruition. Cutie, meanwhile, will light a player up inside of objective. I believe that's Warden. He sees his foot and hits him and actually manages to kill him. Oh my word, that was quite the angle. And now Raven, it is a 3-on-3.
I honestly didn't think Cutie could even see his foot, man. I definitely couldn't see it besides the outline. That is the tightest of angles from Cutie there. Warden's going to watch that back and just be kicking himself. Does mean we have even man advantage again. Time is just ticking away pretty quickly here, though. Bring a lot of emphasis on Okami to speed up a little bit. Todd and Deptra, no, Shade still off site, sorry. So that's some pressure that can come back later. Oh, that shotgun shot not coming out early enough. Joker finds him through the floor. Mangoes is getting the plant down, so this retake has to come out right now.
Oh, he actually falls off it. That could prove very deadly as Todd actually manages to drop him now. It's a 2-on-2. Shade as well taken down. So Todd now needs to win a 1-on-2.
15 seconds remaining.
He was the one that gave his team a fighting chance in this round, but can he rotate around in time? Does eventually find a hole. Joker so close to sticking that plant. The pings are there. Is the wallbang in position? No, it's not. Okami will win the round. Todd was so close yet so far from bringing that one back.
Yeah, you almost got that wallbang onto Cutie, just shooting at standing height instead of crouched. Difference there, and it would have been a 1v1 if he did hit it. Not to be, I mean, that didn't look too shabby from Ferox. This was probably the sketchiest thing out of their defense, was just Deptra caught sleeping there in Sunrise. I mean, that's also so unlucky for Warden, man.
Wow, that was literally a pixel angle. It doesn't get much closer than that. The bullet, like, would have shaved the metal beam as it went past. It was that tight of an angle. That was nuts. And look, it did help his team get the win. Ferox unable to hold that one out long enough. I thought there was a moment there during that round when that player fell off the plant from Okami that maybe Ferox were in with a chance, but really didn't have the best positions to try and deny that second attempt.
Yeah, and that's tough when there's Disturbance plant, because really, if you don't have a soft wall that you can wallbang from the bathroom side, then of course you don't have many other options besides to push from where the bomb chassis is. Pretty easy to cover. That's why most teams will really default to plant there, because there's no verticality that you have to worry about. It did make it tough. Is one round though. See whether Ferox can bounce back. Of course, we've seen very clearly on Clubhouse they're capable of comebacks as well. So it's really hard to ever write them off. And that round, I mean, it was close as well, guys. It's not like it was a blowout.
Mango's on the IQ, using that little wrist scanner to try and spot any additional utility. Jack that he looks to maybe enter in towards office. Final preparations being prepared. Final preparations being prepared. Ah, that was the worst word I could use, but final preparations being made by the defenders. Todd's still inside of office, playing quite aggressively with that heartbeat scanner, but at that sort of range, I don't think he's quite going to see Jack Dad. Maybe now as he hugs the wall. Mangoes might disturb it though. Drone coming around. Todd does hear it. I think it may have been taken out from above. Definitely trying to protect this Pulse player as much as possible. The pinch is coming out. Todd could get this pick, but he gets timed again on the prone. Oh my god. That's so unlucky for Todd. If you style getting the pick. And now it's a 5-1-4.
Yeah, there's something to be said about changing your stance between prone and anything else. You really have to be confident in your timing, because that's 2 rounds now we've seen Todd really get messed up by it. It was a good pinch in the end from Okami. I was well covered in office at least. on the Ash, and I mean, this is a chance that Ibisar could get unleashed. We've seen him go off on the Ash before. We're going to have to look at shutting that down. Mango is close to site already, so it's just about getting this map control for Okami, and the plant is pretty close.
Just over a minute to go. Tushi holding strong. He's in a key position at Drinks here. Being pressured from the window and can't really wide swing to deny plant when it does come down. Safe to say the positions held by the attack is currently quite strong. That smoke though will be equally as strong before Tushi is taken out. Warden does get one back. And it is a 4-on-2. Potentially in a position to run out here on that main window. It does look like, I believe it's Joker is holding that run out. He is ready and waiting. Maybe not. Is he? That is the question. He gets lit up. Warden with a very cheeky angle. Elects not to go for the run out as Jack Daddy elects to go for the plant. Pre-fire comes out and Warden manages to hit it. But he is now left in a 3-on-1. The ace clutch will need to be executed. That's an awkward position to try and fight. And Ippy will come out on top in the end. That was, oh no. Oh no.
Oh, no
no.
way.
Oh, that's pure skill.
Yeah. Look, I was going to say a bit of a potato fest coming out from both players there. So, look, Okami are scraping through a little bit. That round was close again. Warden looked dangerous denying that plant with about, I think it was 20 seconds left in the clock. It would have been hard to replace given that his two teammates were on the window and, of course, that player in the VIP hallway. But either way, Okami did secure the round. I feel like it's just a matter of time that Ferox is going to be able to at least secure 1 or 2 of these rounds. If they can break a little bit of momentum, we might see them string some stuff together.
Very interesting
Attackers need
indeed.
to locate and defuse bombs.
Scoreline currently 2-0. The lead. So far, their attacks have been quite strong, and Ferox unable to find an answer to try and shut it down, despite rotating around these objectives quite frequently. We haven't seen the same one appear twice yet. Blue Bus Sunrise being their tertiary pick. Definitely defendable, but expecting this round to go down to the wire again.
10 seconds to go.
Yeah, it's generally been the theme of the series. Most of these rounds across both maps have been pretty close. The team really looking super strong out of it, or both teams are looking strong, I guess you could say. Well, it was one flawless round in Clubhouse, but other than that, too dramatically blown out. See how Ferox go on this defense, dedicating a lot to this vertical control. They're going to have to sit here, and I mean, that's the hard thing with Coastline, is it's not a massive map. It's not like it takes a lot of time to drone out and really start to push those kinds of roams away.
Todd gathering a lot of intel here. Heartbeat scanner being used from office to peek above in towards aquarium.
Heartbeat sensor deployed.
There are 2 players stacked out there. Likely he's seen both. Not 100% sure though. Either way, there's no one really to capitalize on that intel. Instead, Todd will be relaying it to his team. Warden actually is over towards Drinks. That's a very interesting shield position to try and cover any sort of angle from VIP. Shots raining out C4s as well. Shade won't find his target with that one. As Okami continue to prod this defense, if you style gets lit up. Need to try and pinch this player out.
Yeah, and they're dedicating so much time to do so. I mean, it is really important they get solid vertical control here. All up to how Warden plays it out. Ippy Style is in a bit of danger there in VIP. He's going to aggress down. It looks like Warden actually got out of there, and he's managed to get a kill out of it. Trays with jacked out as Todd hits a nice C4 from below. So all of a sudden, actually, Ferox are in a huge man advantage given the pressure that Okami were putting on this roam. 2 versus 3, but still a bit of time ahead of Okami. Ferox comfortably on site now with man advantage.
Joker and Cutie left in a 2-on-3. Don't put it past him to clutch this one. Ferox quite spread out, not really in a position to refrag it, but Cutie Oh my, he'll down himself with a grenade, and now Joker's left with it all to do, unfortunately. He will hack cam, so may have some intel to play off.
Bomb located by
Of course,
attackers.
Deptra playing the Valkyrie may have placed those in some now compromising positions for his fellow defenders. Joker drops a Goyo shield, but that's not really going to do a whole lot. His position likely being revealed as above now. Todd on the pulse. Surely giving out callouts. We could see him down below in blue bar, just constantly calling out to his team. And look, this round surely isn't winnable. Only 20 seconds left on the board. More shots raining out. The C75 so tricky with that iron sight, and Joker will finally meet his demise. Ferox winning their first round here on Coastline.
As we were saying, it felt like it was just a matter of time with how close those first 2 rounds were. There it is. That one was actually quite strongly or firmly in favor of Ferox. That upstairs roam worked out really well for them. They got I don't think they actually got the opening pick, but then they got 2 trades back to give them a man advantage, and then it really just kept going their way from that point on. They're going to re-attempt kitchen, so they're doing a full rotate back to the first rounds, which of course we saw was a 1v2 style situation, a pretty close end to the round there. So see if Ferox have made adaptations to get them this one.
Kitchen and Service will now make its second appearance tonight between these two. It was played in the first round, and Okami, of course, won that. Question is, will they be able to replicate it? It looks like they are playing a very similar operator lineup. So it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out.
Looks to be a pretty similar setup. We saw Deptra and Todd both on the vertical play, playing through the bars office. Often was Deptra caught sleeping with Cam and Sunrise, so he's going to have to try and be a little more alert. Maybe a little better backed up by his team. Whatever the issue was there. Spreading out quite horizontally. Yeah, is Ferox Warden looking like he might be trying to hang around lobby, or at least setting it up for a late hold? And that is not going to be a helpful start.
QD actually brought down really low, so definitely an interesting gunfight. Not exactly sure where it played out. Either way, though, QD will be happy that he ended out on top. Maybe it was the kitchen window. I really do not know. No? Maybe it was the run out. I think it was the run out over towards the pool, the west. Over to the right. There you go, MC. Over there. Somewhere over there. Anyway. Warden gets 1, gets 2. What kind of run out is that? I think he might have jumped out the window. Absolutely nutty from him. This round is just, I don't know what's going on. Sushi gets 1. Now it's a 2-on-4. Ferox have brought this one back.
Yeah, they're really swinging momentum back into their favor here. I mean, those first 2 rounds were close, but these last 2 have looked really strongly theirs. Of course, there is still a little bit of time. Jack Daddy and Cutie are the 2 alive for Okami. That to say, Cutie in particular has had a pretty good game so far, but nope, he's going to die as the Claymore frags him out. Todd tries to peek, making it a 1 versus 2 on Jack Daddy. I mean, this is definitely still possible.
It's been such a strange round so far, and we're only halfway through it on the timer. We reached that point as Jack Daddy now heads through main lobby. Ferox need to position up for a refrag at the very least here if they can't kill him in the first engagement. Looks like they've set up a pretty nice cross so far. Jack Daddy, who knows where they are? I wonder if he knows the player to his right. Looks like he does. He pre-fires it, but he doesn't win the gunfight. Oh, he actually does. It's a trade.
Yeah.
No way. What a play there from Jack Daddy. Not quite enough in the end. So I'm sure Sushi is very happy that was a trade because, let's be honest, I don't think he was in a great position to refrag that.
Yeah, that was the thing, is they weren't really well set up for the refrag, so super winnable for Jack Dad. Like you said, if that wasn't a trade, very real possibility he might have been able to get that, but that's not the case. So that's 2 rounds in a row for Ferox now, bringing it back to even tabs, and feels very similar to how Clubhouse was going. It's just swings and roundabouts of who's winning these rounds.
Time to head back to hookah
Defenders,
billiards.
protect your bombs from being defused by
Scores
attackers.
now 2 apiece. A little bit of a seesaw as we saw in map number 1. In fact, the first 4 rounds on the first map
Attackers have discovered
resulted in a
the location
2-2
of a
score,
bomb.
and so far, it's looking pretty close. Is it too soon to call 8-7 OT win to Okami?
Well, I felt like you called it pretty earlier in Clubhouse. I didn't write down which round it was, but we were talking about overtime pretty early on that map. And it happened. So I would definitely
10
wouldn't
seconds
put it
to
past
insertion.
happening again on this map. Given how these guys have played, it feels real.
5 seconds to go. Attacker's objective is to defuse a bomb.
Into the action phase now. Final preparations going up. That'll probably be the last we see of Warden in sight for a while as he makes his way out to try and cause some terror. Appears as if Todd as well is roaming again down towards office, a position that we've seen him play quite often in these first 4 rounds, trying to gain intel on the players over towards Aquarium. Does spot Jack Daddy there, near spawn. Here's Deptra to assist as well, so strong investment below at the moment. And a player peeking from above. Okay, this is... I don't want to be walking in there if I'm Jack Daddy, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, definitely designed as quite a trap. Sure, they're gonna really hard push into that. It might not be the smartest decision, at least early round. You can put pressure elsewhere, maybe divert these players. In fact, they're now cut off. They're still lucky to still be alive. A really solid pinch coming here from Okami, but Warden gets the opening pick onto Ipisar. That's a big pick as well. Ipisar's been playing pretty well on the Ash. Here comes the entry into office. Depra's the first to fall. Todd peeks around. There's no shots connecting from Jack Dad. This C4 could be the kill, but no, I think he downed himself with it. Not 100% sure. Jack Daddy is the one that secures the kill, though, and that means Okami stay with the man advantage only just.
4 versus 3 as we will now eclipse the halfway point of the round. A few members more on the board than this time last round. Warden off-site. Shade and Shusi left. Try and hold the fort. Shade and Sushi. That is much harder to say than I expected.
I was wondering who you were talking about.
Shade,
Like,
Shade and Sushi. Shade Sushi. I don't know why that's so hard to say.
under a minute, and I mean, Ferox, they can just sit comfortably here, right? They've still got the smoke up, so he can deny a lot of the chance to plant, and that means they either have to push deep, or they have to deal with the smoke player. Every second they're not baiting out these smokes is really going to make it hard, but oh, that frag grenade just totally deletes my point, and deletes Sushi, so it's all up to Warden and Shade now in the final 40 seconds.
Warden in a position to flank. Instead, he makes his way down the main hallway. Shade will drop mangoes. Not really being able to pressure this position. Okami. Cutie, though, trying to sweep in from behind as Shade will get his second. Cutie pushes in the sound crew of the Gumon, gives away his position, but he still gets the kill. And now it's a one-on-one. Warden taking on Cutie. Surely Warden can close this one out. Diffuser is dropped. No real chance of Cutie going for the plant. He needs to try and find the frag, but he doesn't know where Warden is positioned. And Ferox will win on time.
Really, really well played from Warden and Shade. It was a 2 versus 4 at that stage with about 30 seconds to go, 25 seconds. They just held really well. Great positions and a bit of a fail, I guess, from Okami to secure a refrag. Cutie definitely could have pushed in Hookah much quicker to frag out that Legion. He would have saved Joker on the rappel. Not to be. That's 3 rounds in a row for Ferox now. So they're really starting to get a bit of momentum behind them again.
Momentum definitely being the name of the game so far tonight. Blue Bar Sunrise. Again, we'll see its second appearance for the final round of the half. In fact, this was the first round that Ferox won on the map and really helped kickstart this momentum, and they'll be looking to close it out as well. And I think a 4-2 lead on a defensive half on Coastline. Now that will be pretty good.
Absolutely. Yeah, and as I was saying previously, when Ferox played this in the first week of Six Masters, it just really felt like they were having a lot of issues with their
Bomb located
defenses.
by attackers.
And it's looking so much better for them now. Which worries me about Okami because Ferox, if they are playing this one on their defense, they can potentially lean on some good attacks and they
10
might be
seconds to
looking to
insertion.
close this map out. A little early to call, but it feels it's like it's leaning that way.
5 seconds left before
Ooh.
insertion.
Oh, the caster curse. Oh no.
Attackers are moving
Yep.
to defuse a bomb.
Look, I'm still backing the 8-7 Okami OT. I'm still aboard that train. Although I'm sure neither of these teams want it to go that long because it takes its toll. Oh, we wanted to close it out in regulation. If Okami lose this round though, that hope is only going to slip further and further away. Shifting over to the defense will be tricky. But we still have 2 minutes 30 left in this half. All members still on the board. Drone's heading out. As we ride on board rather with Mangoes and Kitchen, droning the entry for Ippy style, and Jack Daddy also sweeping across the map. So a lot of ground being gathered quite quickly here.
They've really stuck this Dockerby as well, and I don't know whether it's had any massive direct effect. Hard to say from what we get at least anyway. Army will be the ones to answer that, but I mean they're not winning as many attack runs as they would have liked, that's for sure. Ferox doing a great job of staying disciplined. It was something we highlighted actually previously in Clubhouse about that discipline and patience with angles and Deptra. That works out for him at least. There's a refrag coming out though. It's an important player, in fact, lost for Ferox. That's Warden gone.
Deptra is droned out, gets aggressive on it and takes him down. The pre-fire not quite fast enough, and Valkyrie will be alive and well. Shade though, he won't be. His Mangoes shuts him down. I don't think Shade was really expecting that one. Deptra still getting aggressive on this peg, trying to find the opening. I don't know where he's aiming with that one, but that's way off its target. He gets away with his life in the end, but Ferox quite low on HP across the board.
Yeah, it's not looking too good for them on this one. Oh, that wallbang does down Deptra. So that's a nice job there from Mangoes. Okami really in a good position here to be able to close this round out. Sushi under a lot of pressure. Todd's the only one on full HP. A frag grenade will slightly tag Sushi, but not much. It's going to be very hard for them to be able to hold on here. Sushi does find one though. Gives them a little bit of a breath. Jack Daddy's taken low as well, so we could be able to bring this back to a 2v2.
Difficult part is really trying to get that plant down, but with Sushi taken off the board, it should be doable. Todd going for a massive flank is shut down. The flick from Jack Dad proves too strong, and Okami managed to even out the half.
Nice shot. And yeah, it is a 3-3 half again. That's all we've had from this series. It was 3-3 Clubhouse, and then it was another 3-3 half to make it 6-6. Now we're 3-3 here in Coastline. Really feels like foreshadowing for a 6-6 again, guys.
7-8, 7-8. Or 8-7. Okay, well, I didn't see this coming, though. Penthouse Theatre. That is quite the spice, especially considering most teams will only go there if Mira's on the board. So I'm very intrigued to see what they bring to the board on this one. And I highly, highly doubt Ferox are going to be expecting this.
Yeah, really not commonly chosen in ANZ anymore with Penthouse Theatre. Really rotated out of meta on
Attackers need to
Coastline.
locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
See what Ferox can do to adapt to that. Probably good for Okami in terms of how that attack half ended. That was really their best attack round. Because the other two they won were quite close. That last one was definitely their strongest, so they can carry some momentum into their defense here. And I think the big spotlight is more so probably going to be on Ferox and how they can string together these attacks.
Definitely being used and abused here by the defenders. And you know what? That's probably not a bad idea. Penthouse is a site that doesn't offer a whole lot of protection once a lot of these windows are held. So maybe the addition of those shields will give the defenders a little bit more comfort. Very, very excited to see how this round plays out.
Some Jackal play as well. I mean, that's something we also haven't really seen much at all these days. He went through a phase of being heavily banned. And then I guess a similar thing to what we were talking about earlier with Thatcher, even when he's available, which is quite frequently these days, don't see him picked a whole lot.
Drones being used instead to gather intel. Jack Daddy, oh, that door to the right near guitar. Shield's providing some cover, but he's exposed to a lot of angles here. Mangoes needs to try and help him out. Jack Daddy misses the shots on the rappel. Of course, that rappel line is giving away Deptra's position, but there we go. Warden will drop Jack Daddy. Nice shot from him. Mangoes as well could get his head taken off very, very soon here. He unpeaks it at the right time, though. Looks like Ferox slowly picking this apart already.
I'm not sure. Oh, that is a good peek from Mangoes. Deptra off the board, and a refrag attempt from Sushi has failed. Mangoes holding Hall of Fame just all by himself. Single-handedly ripping that Ferox attack apart, and Shade's been downed as well. Might be able to be recovered at least. Looks like he might have fallen off the roof, in fact, of parking garage.
Maybe he was shot. Not too sure. Either way, though, Ferox will go for the pickup.
Attackers recovered the diffuser.
I mean, it's hard to even say that Okami are winning this site off the back of the site setup itself. It's really just Mango's going big in Hall of Fame there and winning some critical ones.
The attackers bombed the
Fortunately,
diffuser
Ferox just unable to shut him
Diffuser
down,
is
and
exposed.
Shade as well. The run out will end his life. This is no longer the Hall of Fame. This is basically just the Hall of Mangoes and a bunch of Ferox corpses at the moment.
What are you saying, guys? Northeast corner of Hall of Fame is just now called Mangoes? Is that right?
Yeah, let's make that official. All right, everyone, we're calling that Mangoes from now. Oh yeah, definitely. Oh, it's the quad. If he gets the ace, 100%. That's being called Mangoes. Question is, can he do it? Oh, he can't. Wow. Oh, you would. You would. I bet he would have got that kill as well. Wow. Boo.
Oh.
I'm still calling it Mangoes. I reckon it was still a pretty good play.
Oh, totally. I mean, that whole round was all Mangoes, man. Like, especially this was the most important part. That shot onto Deptra and then the double kill to secure the IQ. Really, that was it. I don't think Ferox really had much of an in after that. That was, that was a nut shot there. And yeah, look, good round from Okami. I don't really feel comfortable saying that their penthouse worked out well because I just
What
think
penthouse?
Mango's got some
They didn't get into the
great frags.
objective.
Exactly.
Oh. Well, I guess the question is now, will that completely kill off Ferox's momentum? Because I'm tipping they're not going to be too happy getting 4K'd by a dock. Hopefully they're not too tilted by that.
Attackers
I mean, I wouldn't be happy,
location
but...
of a bomb.
Oh well. It is what it is.
See what Okami have in store for us. Yeah, it looks like, again, they're going to be extending vertically.
10
Style
seconds left
Cutie
before
are the one
insertion.
getting up there. With these Goyo shields, that's definitely a stall point
5 seconds left before
that
insertion.
Ferox going to have to deal with. On top of the mute jammers, have
Attackers
not
are
brought
moving
the
to defuse
Thatcher,
the bomb.
so they will have to actually physically shoot those jammers to get past.
ATS deployed and ready to go.
4-3 the scoreline after Okami managed to edge out that final round. Warden in this round already been lit up. Not an ideal start for him. It's Ferox trying regain some composure after just being completely torn apart by Mangoes. It's looking like it's going to be 10 members up for a long time here. Could be setting up for quite the explosive execute later in this round.
Could definitely be the case. Warden was tagged quite low in engagement. Pretty important utility there. Those evil eyes are going to have to be dealt with because they can see a lot of the default plants besides kitchen door. But you didn't think that TV... Okami, I've done it again, guys. Oh, no. You'd think Okami would know if they're planting kitchen door at least early. This might be not noticed here. Warden might be able to get the jump into this lobby position.
Deptra's found himself in an awkward position. He will get taken down. Mangoes clearly just doesn't lose those. Once again, going big in this round. You know, I didn't even realize you said TBD at all then, until you mentioned it. I was having a bit of a daydream moment for some reason, and yeah, you just expose yourself.
Whoops. There's a drone right next to Mangoes, right? Like, you see that?
I did not see that. I mean, Mangoes
It's on the
doesn't. Maybe
stairs.
Mangoes, he's just baiting it. Mangoes knows. Like, he's just like 3 kills for me.
Maybe.
I don't care.
Maybe.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Mangoes is like, yes, please drone me. I want more kills.
Yeah, maybe. Joker, meanwhile, though, taken down by Todd. So that means that a really important player or operator is off the board. That's Smoke. Also, with the Shade was on site. It looked like he was actually on site there. Mangoes has found himself another, so he's just going huge at the moment. He's finally been downed, though. Does effectively make this a 2 versus 2. All to Warden and Shade, who have both been tagged low and not much time on the clock.
15 seconds
It's all
left.
yours, Raven. My clean feed is gone.
So Shade is going for the plant. He baited it, though. He comes off as Jack Daddy finally denies with the C4. Peek coming out from Warden, not getting any shots onto Jack Daddy. Does close it out for Okami, though. That's 3 rounds in a row for Okami. Starting to look pretty firmly in their favor. Some really solid momentum going in their direction.
It's alright, I'm back. We're good. Sure you did a wonderful job there, Raven. I saw no faults at all in that call. I think it was
Thanks,
just bang on. I knew what was happening without even seeing it. That's all I'm saying. I
Good.
can envision it.
Good.
Alright, 5-3 the scoreline. Okami with the lead. Blue by Sunrise will be their site of choice. Again, they will be 1 round away from match point, but if we've come to learn anything between these two, even if Okami get match point, it's not going to be necessarily secured. So I think they'll be looking to just close this one out
And defuse as many bombs as they can.
really quickly, so they don't have to go to AT again.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the stats from the first map. Okami won the final round of the first half to make it 3-3, and they won 3 rounds in a row. So far, we're on 2 on this map. It really is just almost like a total repeated pattern of Clubhouse. It's a matter of whether Ferox can form that comeback yet again.
Very interested to see how this one closes out. Mangoes. I don't think he wants this map to end just yet. Going 10 and 6, he's got a couple of big rounds. I'd love to know if you knew that James was there. Surely not. I don't know how he didn't see it though. That was crazy. Literally just out in the open. Oh, Mangoes.
Yeah, not sure what was going on with that. At first I was like, maybe they've got a Mozzie drone. Then I realized, no, they don't. So I don't know. Maybe we'll find out later. Shade on the Gridlock. Haven't seen much Gridlock play at all recently. First time we've seen her tonight. Whether it has much of an impact. Another one we haven't seen a whole lot of is Nomad either. It's quite surprising because usually you do see quite a lot of Nomad these days.
Refi's running out there from Todd on the Buck. Buck, of course, very proficient on Coastline. Sometimes we'll even see him banned.
My track sting more than a box jellyfish.
Track Stinger's going out there from Shade. That will help minimize the impact of some of these rotations that may come out later in the round from Okami. There we go, Todd getting full use of that skeleton key. Of course, it was recently increased in capacity, so there is a lot of opportunity for him to create some nice angles. Really displays these defenders on site.
Yeah, and that's a great point. I mean, a lot of people focus on the change with his utility, getting stuns. Or, no, not getting stuns, getting Claymore, but people using his stuns. But actually, that skeleton key increase is huge, because especially on a map like Coastline, there's so much damage that you can do to these floors. It makes it a lot harder for these defenders to sit in a lot of these crucial positions. sitting in crucial positions. Cutie in a very tough position to flush out with that shield in the way, and a lot of utility involved to do so.
Of course, Thatcher hasn't been banned, but the fact that Ferox didn't elect to bring him, proving costly, as Mangoes and Ippy Star will open proceedings, one apiece. The minute to go, Mangoes gets a double. This man is going absolutely off. Cutie as well gets one, and now Todd is left to try and ace clutch this one up. And yeah, it's probably not going to happen. A nice kill out onto Jack Daddy, but I think from here it's just going to be trying to even out his stats. Currently going 5 and 7. He'll be happy with 2 more kills. At least go even. Oh, he's getting floor banged. Todd is not really in a great position here. 30 seconds left on the board. Ferox just sitting and waiting really for the next round to start. Surely nothing will come of this. And there we go. Okami will take the round, and that heads us on to match point.
I was talking about it before, man. This is exact foreshadowing from Clubhouse. Exactly how we saw it. 3 rounds in a row for Okami, 6-3. And then we saw Ferox win 3 rounds in a row to take it to overtime. So look, I'm not saying it's not going to happen or is going to happen. It just could.
Penthouse Theatre will see a return here. Okami electing to go there for potentially their final round of the map and tonight's series. Really hard to say if they're going to perform well on this site. Last time it was off the back of Mango's massive dock play, and look, I was surprised they didn't pick him, but 6 pick will be fully utilized, and that's going to be a very scary sight once Ferox spawn into the map and trying to take him down. I wonder if Mango's maybe gets taken down early or plays a little bit less aggressively. How this hold's really going to hold up.
Yeah, it's a great point. We never really got to see exactly how their hold plays out, other than the fact that Mango's just went nuts. So yeah, if he is nullified or just isn't able to actually find the picks, we'll see how that works. I'm very curious. The 6-pick idea was good too. I like that they showed the pulse because it kind of made them to maybe think that this is a hookah hold. But I don't think it changes Ferox's lineup at all because they've really been bringing these operators for every site.
5 seconds to insertion.
Looks again like Mango's will be
Attackers must locate
playing at Mango's. That isn't Hall of Fame anymore. It's officially actually called Mango's. If you look at the bottom of your screen, it definitely says Mango's. They just spelt it wrong. You're gonna go for a small peek. Oh my god. He almost hits that too. Metabar just gets in his way. Ippy Star providing some additional protection as well with those ADS devices. So
a bomb has been located.
yeah, I don't think anyone's going to be repelling DJ deck this time. I don't know. I just have a feeling.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely should probably try and pinch it from a different direction. Of course, actually taking VIP from the hallway is going to have a big part of that. Bush jacked that out quite well last time. That meant that really there was an open direction to push Mango if they did take VIP. They're going to be burning a lot of utility to try and clear him out. He will get flashed, given that those magnets don't actually get rid of utility, just displace it. Warden picks off Ippy Style. They have actually got man advantage now in this first minute. It's a nice early pick. Might make this VIP take a little more possible.
Yeah, a little bit of a sense of deja vu with Depth repelled there. Trying to take down Mango's on the last occasion. Mango's absolutely deleted him, and Joker deletes Warden. So it is a 4-on-4. Edging close towards the halfway point in the round. Todd below trying to get to work with the skeleton key
Attackers have
again.
dropped the bomb diffuser.
I think he might play a critical role in clearing out some of these players from below.
Seems quite concerned that Joker might have dropped back down to the lobby to the white stairs when Warden got picked. Going at the moment, Mango's still firmly holding on to
Attackers dropped the
Mango's.
diffuser.
Jack Daddy's still in VIP.
Oh no!
IQ peak is going
He
to work out
cursed him.
much better this time though. And the Jack Daddy refrag didn't come out. He is still in that corner, but there it is. So that means it's a pretty solid man advantage now for Ferox. Be there round.
Again, we haven't really seen just how strong this hold is. It's only now that Ferox are really going to need to actually progress in towards the physical site. All these gunfights taking place off-site. Joker arguably still in a great power position. He has that shield to work with. And the Vector. Quick fires,
Attackers
quick
recover
peeks
the
rather
diffuser.
around that shield, and Deptra takes a little bit of damage. Joker, most importantly, has a C4 in his pocket as well. If they try and plant next to the bed, surely Joker can C4 this. He does crouch forward, the C4 comes out. It gets stuck though at the top of the bed. It was enough to make him fall off the plant though, and that's wasting a lot of time for these attackers. The bolt comes out onto the bed as Cutie gets one. Time is still being wasted here by Joker. The flank coming in through the hallway. Deptra pushing in as well, and there we go. The three-man pinch leaves it all up to Cutie, but he has a C4 from below. This could be big.
5 seconds
There is a
left.
player on the white stairs to try and deny it. The C4 misplaced, and Ferox will take the round.
These guys, exactly how I played out in Clubhouse. You know, I'm not going to call it, but feels like comeback is on its way.
Maybe, maybe. That would be quite spicy indeed. I don't know if Okami will be too happy if it goes to OT again, even if they do win. I don't think their hearts will be able to take too much more. Let's get some heart rate monitors on these guys. I'm sure the pressure would be pretty high. Yeah, I feel like they might be playing into the minds a little bit here of Okami, knowing that they slipped up that 6-3 lead last time, albeit they did get the map win in the end, but I don't know. We saw them slip once in regulation, and nothing saying they might do the same here.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as
And
many
Ferox,
bombs as
I
they
mean,
can.
they're seasoned overtime players after last week. I mean, they had a 7-5 and then the 8-7
Attackers have located
with
the bomb.
wildcard. And here we are, 8-7, and who knows what this will end up being. It could be a 7-5 as well. They're definitely all down for playing maximum amount of rounds possible. Maybe that will play a factor if it goes to overtime again. I mean, Ferox played overtime last week, late one, in fact. We'll see. Okami have changed site. They're not going to stick that penthouse, and we finally saw it stress tested a little bit, and it
10
didn't
seconds left.
look too crash hot once they finally got a chance to push side.
5
No
seconds.
mangoes, no penthouse, that's all I'm saying.
Attackers have discovered the location of a bomb. Attackers are heading out to defuse a bomb.
To be honest, if he didn't, did he reload? I think he reloaded at the wrong time that last round, right? If he hadn't have reloaded, to be honest, he probably would have won that gunfight.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh well. We can only speculate. What we do know is of course 6-4, Okami still with match point. Looking to just close it out. They had struggles closing it out on Clubhouse. A lot of utility being expended by them on this top floor. The defender's really trying to prevent Ferox from getting that vertical control. Question is, will it work?
Definitely going to be a lot of utility needed to clear out those players, particularly in theater there. If they want to hard push it. Losing drones. Not so great. Jokers are the only one on site though. I mean, this is an opening that Ferox could look into if they want to. Ready to repel the retake. That 90 position is going to be hard to push out, but
Oh.
Ipistyle sitting in such a strange spot right under the default. And he was super exposed. Warden wins that gunfight without even taking a hit. That gives them a good man advantage now and gives them a bit of stability in trying to push out this room.
Clipsing the halfway point of the round. Ferox now trying to establish some control above, but Jack Daddy's making that quite challenging. Holding behind the shield inside of theater. Mangoes as well, playing a scary position of reception. Wall bangs the barricade. How does he know he's there? He gets the kill. Oh my word. Mango's absolutely popping off so far tonight. Cutie, unfortunately for his team, will be taken down. And now the pressure's really on Jack Daddy to try and find a couple of picks, but he can't even find the first. Deptra gets that kill, and now it's a 2-on-4.
Pretty good for Ferox so far in this attack. They've still got around a minute to play out for this round. A nice pre-fire from Deptra. That last bullet is getting the headshot on Joker.
Attackers
Such unfortunate timing for him. Up to Mangoes, he hits a nice shot onto Warden. In fact, he is going to have to ace to win the map for Okami on this round at least. He's retaken lobbies, so definitely a chance to try and deny this plant. Down to Ferox's covering.
Attackers activating.
Free Fire's coming out. Mangoes gets the triple for the round, but Todd will finally shut down the Danger Man. And Raven, don't say it, okay? Please don't say it. I know what you want to say right now. Just don't say it. Show some restraint.
All right, I won't say anything. But hey, fact is, Ferox are 1 round away from securing overtime again.
That is a
So?
fact. Definitely a fact.
And Okami are going to have to hold Blue Bar Sunrise, which was arguably their best defense so far.
Indeed, indeed. Could be a very interesting conclusion of the map or of regulation, either or. Both teams electing to utilize their 6th pick. QD jumping onto the smoke and Shade onto the Therm. Thermite's an interesting choice, an operator that doesn't often get a whole lot of love on this map.
Yeah, so it really tells me, I reckon they're going to push like
Attackers
office
need to
side.
locate and
Office.
defuse as many bombs as
Aquarium,
they can.
luggage, office security.
Oh,
no!
Oh no!
Bomb located by attackers.
Well, that is a
Nice
great
shot.
start to the round for
Ferox.
Ferox.
I really hope he wasn't like, you know how sometimes you're loading into a map and you'll be like playing around with your mouse or like tapping it or something. I wonder if that's what happened. That is so unfortunate. Or if he was just making the rotate. I don't know. Like that. Yeah, that's.
It was pretty instant. I don't know. Either way, that's really rough
10
for
seconds
Okami
to
there.
insertion.
And what I was saying is, with aquarium, luggage, office control, so you do thermite open to blue bar, hold
Attackers are
lobby,
heading
then
out
you
to
can
defuse
cut
the
that
bomb.
courtyard peak through the holes, and you get a plant behind the actual bar in blue bar. I feel like that's what Ferox are going to be doing, given how hard Okami were holding the top floor and Sunrise last time. But maybe, yeah, with Jack Dad off the board, maybe they feel confident just to default back.
Ferox spending his time gathering intel. Gifted that man advantage, but far from being gifted the round win. One of those photo shields will be popped. Warden already with some nice control towards CC. Shade outside of office, so it definitely does look like they will be shaping up for that push from office in towards blue bar.
Attackers have located a
This are
bomb.
probably going to be the trouble player there. Mango is also looming around courtyard, so there are a couple of players that could really hinder this push.
Attackers have
Ferox.
dropped the bomb diffuser.
Beauty seems to have read that
Attackers
he's
have
getting no
recovered their
pressure there
diffuser.
in Sunrise, so he's going to try and potentially get an aggressive run out from Sauna. But he's got the SMG-11. Ipistal already pushing aggressively towards this flank. Is potentially being held by Deptra on a drone. He probably saw Ipistal as it gets shot. He's not going to be able to cross. Deptra is in a bit of a trap. Ipistal got downed, in fact. So if Ferox are able to capitalize on this, could really give them a good spot.
Shade's actually going for the plant. The question is, where is the denial? Joker gets one
Attackers
onto
are
depth,
activating the bomb diffuser.
but that plant has been successful. It's now a post plant, 40 seconds left for these defenders to retake side and try and counter defuse. It's a very challenging position. Mangoes can't even get into that rotate. If this style does get one, instantly
Defender is
refake there by
approaching the kill
Sushi.
zone.
Kitty trying to run out and go for a peek as it's left in a 2-on-2. One Ferox player above, the other inside of office. Mangoes could maybe try and long arm this potentially. Looks like that's what he will try and do. 7 seconds he needs to stick it. He falls off at that player from above, applying some pressure. Can they get rid of him? They can't. Ferox will take the round. Warden with a 2K to finish things off. And Raven, I give you permission. You can say it. You can say it if you want.
Zach Mira of Clubhouse Scars. 3 rounds in a row to start the half from Okami, and then 3 rounds to close it out by Ferox. That's another 3-3 half, so that's all we've seen from these guys in this series across
Locate
2
and
maps.
defuse as many bombs as they can.
They are going to be going to full time. There we go. It was actually Cutie trying to make the rotate, and Jack just running in front. Oof. I mean, that really could have changed things if they had those magnets just to repel some of that extra utility, and even just the extra gunner could have definitely been different.
That was rough. Very, very rough indeed. Okami with the attack. I mean, normally we'd say that's the favored side, but statistics will tell us that tonight it hasn't really meant
Attackers need to
anything
locate and
between
defuse
50-50
as many bombs as they can.
for each half. Man,
Attackers
which way are
have
you
located
leaning?
a
Because
bomb.
I honestly, I don't know. I'm probably still going to stick with Okami, but I don't know.
It's tough, man. I don't know. I mean, momentum at the moment is in the favor of Ferox. Really? Like you said a couple of rounds ago, maybe that whole 6-3 throw from Okami on both maps is probably playing on their mindset a little bit. It's happened 2 maps in a row now where they had 3 match points essentially. Both times they
10
haven't been able to close it out in regulation. And that definitely favors Ferox much more
5
than
seconds
Okami.
remaining. Attackers objective
Well,
is
heading
to
into
defuse the
tonight, Okami looking for some serious points on the board, try and help secure their position in the top 4. Ferox in the meantime trying to break into that top 4. A lot on the line and a lot riding on these last couple of rounds. Ferox trying to at least salvage something, at least
located.
draw the series. Okami on the flip side, of course, wanting to close things out after winning on Clubhouse in a very similar fashion to how this one has played out thus far. Warden going 14 and 10. Big from him. I wonder what Mangoes is on now. I feel like he's probably going to be pretty high as well. He's been absolutely
Yeah,
popping
so
off.
it's 15? Yeah, 15
Yep.
and 9.
Oh
there
my
we go.
word. Nasty.
Yeah, so a bit of a Warden versus Mangoes thing going on at the moment. Not as bad as last week's Ethan versus Warden scenario, but either way, it's yeah, it's been some big efforts. Just digging back into some stats here. Last time Ferox held this, they won it. It was round 4. Of course, round 1 was the first time they went for it, and they lost that. 50-50 on who's won and lost in terms of Ferox's defense at kitchen. Really doesn't help us much in terms of breaking the dead heat. If anything, it just emphasizes the fact that these teams have literally just traded everything tonight.
Question is, will they trade the series? It's up to Ferox. Try and do that. Warden trying to find the opening pick in OT. Isn't successful, will fall back. Probably a wise decision. Well, truly past the halfway point in the round now, and Ferox seemingly still quite confident on side in the round. Mango's interestingly enough with the diffuser. He's at service door trying to maybe prepare for a plant. It's going to be up to Okami to try and get some presence above. It looks like they have done so, but Todd here on the pulse giving some very nice intel to the rest of his defending team.
Most importantly, he's giving the all clear that they can retake kitchen because nobody was really, at that stage, sitting in VIP. It was just Ippy Star in the hallway. Some really important positions here. Gained vertically, but Cutie loses it actually to Shade. That could be really critical given that we're in the final 40 seconds and it means Shade can hold onto such important service control. Mangoes is pushed deep. In fact, he's wall bangable. He is shot by Shade. Great play there. But Ippy Star picks up a double. That's really big guys into this final 30 seconds, making it 3 versus 3. Could definitely go either way.
Ippy style probing for another. There is a player behind a deployable in sight, but Joker, he'll drop Warden, leaving it up to Shade and Sushi. Sushi, the player behind that shield. Not really going to favor him in a long-range engagement. The SMG against an ACOG could be very interesting. He does flick onto Ippy style, does actually drop him. And that opens up the round massively. Not long on the timer. They need to stick this plant. Shade gets his triple for the round, and it looks like Joker's going to completely give up on the plant. Shade will go big in that round, get 4, and Ferox will take the first round of OT.
Guys, I don't know if you know what I'm going to say.
What are you going to say?
This is exactly how Clubhouse played out. Okami went up 7-6 match point, and it ended up being Ferox went up 7-6 match point. Ended up being Okami getting 2 in a row to close it out. So, will it be a perfect mirror of Clubhouse? Or will we actually see Ferox buck the trend, and will they win 8-6?
Wow, wait. Definitely been a bit of a grind of a series. Mangoes. Oh, I thought he was going to jump onto the dock. I was getting excited. I was expecting some more dock play, but
Defenders,
nah,
protect your bombs
Mangoes
from being
will
defused by
default
attackers.
back on to the Maestro as we head back to Blue Bar Sunrise. This site being given quite a bit of love by both teams. You saw it twice in the first half, twice in the second half, and this will be twice in OT. So, yeah, Golden Sunrise, it's the place to be.
Apparently it is. Good sign here is that Jack Dad isn't dead. And Cutie doesn't have an extra team kill.
Whoa, you did him like that. Poor Cutie.
I mean, it really set them up for such a poor start to the round, and Ferox very comfortably pushed through to office
5 seconds left.
and took that. I mean, the plant went down. I didn't actually write down the timer, but that plant went down super early.
Attackers
A
objective.
minute and a half to go or something when that plant was being stuck. Super important. See how much it does come back into play in this round. Looks like they are sticking a similar strat too. We've got the same operator lineup at least.
Potentially the last round here in the map in the series if Ferox take it.
Swapping mags!
But if history is anything to go by, Okami will win the next two. Or at least if you listen to Brayden, they will. Very hard to call this site.
New magazine!
Been back and forth between both teams, in fact.
Bomb located
It's
by
only been
attackers.
won once more by Ferox, and that was in overtime. In regulation, it was won twice each. So, like, most of the objectives, it has been super close. Really hard to dictate which way this one will swing. Warden almost getting an early pick there, but not quite meant to be.
Really good use of that vertical play though. Flushing out Mangoes, of all players, really important player for Okami in this series. This map in particular means that he has moved back towards security. It's a heavy flush from Ferox now onto site there, trying to ensure that Mangoes can't retake. Todd is above as well. They really want this office control, and they're very much aware that Mangoes is in fact in courtyard, and the ping comes out, not really sure why. It wasn't capitalized on, so now Mangoes is going to move around, probably even find that drone. Not a fan of that, Guz.
Minute 20 on the board.
Loading mag.
Interesting angle there from Mickey's style. As Jack Daddy and Mangoes are getting a little bit too close for comfort, they will eventually disperse. Refire's coming out from Warden, who's standing up inside of security again. Deptra with the opening pick onto Mangoes. That's the big player taken off the board. Now let's see if Style steps up here. This could well swing in favor of Ferox. And it's another team call, this time with a magnet. So I don't know what's going on in the Okami camp at the moment. Maybe it was a nade that got stuck in the magnet. I'm not too sure how that works on the kill feed. But either way, it is left in a 3-on-5. An unfortunate situation for Okami. Jack Daddy will be taken down as well. It's now left up to Cutie and Ippy Style. Ippy Style in a pretty powerful position to deny anything in blue. Not sure if that drone saw him though. Doesn't look like his flank is being watched. Of course, no Nomad on the board. Doesn't look like there's any claymores either. It is finally being held. Ippy Style, can he win the gunfight? Yes, he will. The refrag is a little bit too slow there. Now it's 20 seconds left.
Yeah, and a lot of times they have to get out to stick this plant and cover courtyard well because Ippy Style is still lurking. Plant goes down, looks like half a second to go. It's secured. Post-plant situation, all up to Cutie. Has full HP, but he's shut down by Shade. Ferox do finally secure an 8-6. They get the map against Okami. What a series, guys. Far out.
That was nuts. 8-6 in the end there for Ferox, leaving the best of 2-1 apiece. And finally, we can silence Raven. No longer will they be following the trend. Ferox finally able to bucket. And it will be theirs in the end. 14 kills from Warden, quite big, but Mango's 15. Really giving his team a fighting chance in this series. Wow, I need a breath after that because that was pretty intense.
That was nuts. That was a great series. 2 overtime maps. Very fitting. I mean, they both looked very evenly matched and really back and forth. And fun little stat on what I've already been talking about. That was the first round since the 3rd round of Coastline that went differently to Clubhouse in terms of who won and lost. So, I don't know. Tale of 2 maps, but very similar in terms of results. It's ending a bit different at the end for Ferox. And also that means they're going to get the head-to-head because 1 extra round that they didn't lose, I guess you'd say. But yeah, man, that was a great series.
It's kind of crazy walking out of that and then looking at that round difference, and you can pretty much objectively say that Ferox actually come out of this matchup on top, despite it being a draw. So, I mean, that's really interesting. I don't think many people would have expected that to occur. At least I didn't. And I mean, full credit to them. 5 rounds straight to close out that map. That was nuts.
Yeah, huge effort from them. They had some really good rounds, especially towards the end of the map, clearly because they won them. But on top of that, I mean, I think that really justifies the effort that Ferox has really put in over the past 2 weeks, because they had such a close series against Wildcard. And it was really feeling like it could have been a similar situation where they had 2 close maps and no points. Finally, they got some extra points on the board, and I think, like I said, they've been playing really well. If they weren't getting any map points out of that, it would have really felt like a disjustice to their form over the past 2 weeks.
And I guess the question is, how will their opponent, Okami, really feel coming out of that one? Because not only did they not close out the second map, but they also don't have that round difference advantage. And I mean, there is a real chance, thinking about it now, that these teams could finish very close together in the final standings. And I can envision a scenario where maybe they're 4th and 5th, and then Ferox will have that advantage. They will go out on top of Okami if they're on even points at the end. So, like, yikes. That's I don't think they'll be too happy with the fact that the round difference went against them.
No, I agree with you. But I think one thing that's probably going to be happening a lot is people are going to think, as they lose these maps or something to Ferox, they're looking at how Ferox came into this tournament, seeded, I think it was 6th in the end. But they're not playing at all like a 6-seeded team. They're playing really well, and they're really quickly adapting to their new roster. And they have far less flaws than the previous Season 11 Pro League roster had. So yeah, really trending up for them.
Well, we have Centis from Okami ready on the line. Let's say g'day.
Hi there, guys. How are you doing?
G'day, Centis. How's it going, man?
I'm kind of sad, to be honest. But besides that, pretty good, pretty good.
I guess one question. Oh, do you want to? You go. You know what, Raven? You go ahead.
You go. Yeah, you seem confident with your question.
All right. I had a question about. Of course, you guys were formerly known as TBD, now under the banner of Okami. Maybe talk us through what that actually means for you guys and sort of where that branding came from.
Oh yeah, so for that I want to give a huge shout out to Candor and especially also Caliber Jacob. Both of them helped us extremely with the branding. Candor made all the graphics, made everything around that. He has been running the Okami account and has been doing so before for a Challenger League team in North America. And since they more or less don't exist anymore, I contacted him and asked if we could adapt that branding so we could have a Twitter account where our followers can see, where we have match postings, where we can have highlights, where we can have build a little community and have a little home for us. And he agreed to that, and so now we have the best logo in ANZ, and yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I think that all sounds really cool, and it's really great of Candor and Caliber Jacob. My main question for you guys, though, is both maps we saw you up 6-3, and then it went to overtime on both of them. Maybe, are you able to give us some insight or just talk us through what was happening in those second halves?
On Clubhouse, it was mentality that killed us. We had the rehost came because one of our players had lagged and had to switch his net, and that killed our momentum. That completely kicked us between the legs, if you want to say it like that, and just really hurt us at that point. We were able to come back from that because we were able to refresh the mentality, but that did knock us down for the second map. We were able to go positive on that 6-3 again, but once again it was mentality, and then the playstyle didn't really. I think the mentality is what is bringing us to overtime week on week again, and we have to work on that, and we are. And it's hard because it's not just hey, you have to play differently. It's each player has to work on that, and we as a team have to work on that. And it's very hard, and it feels very bad that it's because of something like that where we lose, and especially with a 6-3 lead.
Now, of course, next week you guys will be taking on Team Sinister. I guess, what are you and the team sort of expecting heading into that one?
I think it's gonna be an interesting match. They're very good in the standings. I'm not sure where they are at this moment, but they've been consistently over the last season strong opponent. I think I'm not sure if we were able to beat them 2-0 or 1-1 and the last Pro League season, but I think we should have a good chance at least to get another 3 points. But obviously, we're hoping for 6 more. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Centus, we appreciate your time. All the best next week.
Thank you very much. Bye.
I think it was really interesting mentioning the fact that that rehost maybe did kill their momentum a little bit, because when you have that downtime, maybe the just mentality wasn't right. And I guess it kind of showed that, I mean, in the end, of course, on that map, they did win it, but it was not convincing by any stretch.
Yeah, and it can be tough when you've got the momentum or you've got the lead and you have a break for whatever reason. It can be tough to try and continue that on. I mean, that's just the sign of a really strong mental team if they're able to do so. And Centus really clearly gave us that insight that they are struggling a little bit in that regard. So definitely unfortunate for them, and I think they will be severely kicking themselves given that they had 3 match points, if you want to call it that, on both maps. They did at least secure one of them, but the other one did slip away.
Yeah, I mean, like we mentioned earlier, I can't help but feel that that score difference that might cost them later in the season. And they're not the only team. Let's not make this some sort of anomaly. They are not the only team that could suffer from these score differentials if it comes down to tiebreaks later in the season. I mean, Elevate and LFO, for example, is another one that really stands out. Like, it proves that not only is the competition really, really close, but there's a whole nother layer to that competitiveness, which is that score differential. And I mean, I don't want to curse Okami, but look, I hope it doesn't come back to bite them, because this loss will hurt even more.
Yeah, and I mean, this could be the situation for a lot of teams as we move forward, because it's not just Ferox that Okami have to think about their head-to-head with. They still have really tough opponents that are also in their neck of the woods, such as Elevate and Wildcard. So I think towards the end of the season, because of the way the map veto is and how these series work, it really could be a hectic situation in terms of round differentials and who's got head-to-head against who. I can foresee some really tight finishes to 6 Masters.
Well, we have our interview with Team Ferox ready and waiting. Let's beam it up.
Hey guys, how are we?
Depcha, what's up, mate? Congrats for arguably, I guess, sort of winning tonight in a sense. How you guys feeling?
Yeah. Look, we're pumped. The adrenaline's still flowing. You know, you should have heard the comms on that last round there. Boy, it was insane. Yeah.
Look, walk us through. I mean, it was 2 very tough maps for you guys. Clubhouse slowly slipped away, and both times you came back from 6-3 deficits at some stage. Maybe just give us some insight on how that really played out for you guys.
I mean, look, we did the same thing as Wildcard last week. We start at a big deficit, and then we just figure it's match point. We should actually start trying now, you know, make the comeback happen. No, but really though, I think it's a big game for us of momentum, and once we get the fundamentals right of our like droning and just how we're pushing things, and once we can adapt and read a team, especially on Coastline there with our attacks, we kind of figured out, you know, pushing minis not the play. They had a massive warm eye set up with shields and whatnot, so we just figured, you know, let's go officers for those plants, and you know, it worked out. So, yeah.
Yeah. And you yourself, I just want to bring it up. You yourself had a really big 1v2 clutch on Clubhouse, which basically saved the map, right? Because that was when it was 6-3. We were just amazed that you were able to get the angle. Can you talk us through comms? Did you know he was there, or was that kind of just...
Yeah, no, we did have comms on that, fortunately. I was just, oh, far out. I was struggling to remember back then, because I'm just still processing everything. But, yeah, pretty much just closed out the first guy and managed to have comms. I think it was Warden called it to me, second dude. So I managed to find him and get that, and there was a lot of momentum on that after that round win. We thought the guy was going to cover me from Moto, but luckily I was managed to get the shot off in time.
Awesome. Well, looking ahead to next week, you guys will be taking on Elevate. Safe to say they're a pretty strong opponent. What are you guys expecting in that one?
Oh, look, we're just going to have to bunker down, do some VOD reviews, make our own strats, keep going back to the drawing board, and hopefully come new next week.
Awesome. Well, Depcha, we appreciate your time. It was a long one tonight. Good work on sticking it out, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you. Thanks, guys, for the cast.
See you, mate. Oh man, you could just feel the energy like radiating there. He was like,
Yeah.
as he mentioned, the adrenaline is still flowing. Like, even after
Yep.
such a long series, he is up and about. I don't think he's gonna be sleeping until about 4 a.m.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like when you've got the late game and you have a series like that. I mean, it's almost midnight for us, and yeah, it's so hard to wind down. But look, it's great for them. I'm really happy that they're able to get at least one map on tonight because I said it a lot. Like they played really well against Wildcard, and then they've come out and played really well again against Okami, 2 of the top 3 opponents in terms of the standings. So that's a really great effort from them, and I'm really curious now how the rest of their season might pan out.
Well, of course, that concludes tonight's matches. Let's have a quick recap of what exactly all went down. The first matchup, Raven, was Pittsburgh Knights taking on Kanga and the Knights. Took a pretty cruisy 2-0.
It was quite the cruisy 2-0. Very polarizing series that we casted tonight. First one was totally one-sided, and then the second one, you couldn't put a toothpick between them.
Nice little analogy. Well, we have the standings
There's an
ready.
actual analogy that I couldn't remember.
Oh, that's all right, Raven. It's been a long night. Let's bring up the standings. Let's see how those matches have shaped up, where everyone is positioned. Okami in second place. Keep in mind that they have 2 additional maps on Elevate. Make our way further down. LFO have dropped. No, they haven't dropped, have they? Yes, they have, because Pittsburgh overtook them. And Kanga, unfortunately, still on 0 points with a interesting round differential. Interesting is probably a light way to put that one.
Look, I think we've already said it a lot that Kanga are just really in quite the rebuild phase. I think that's just generally how their 6 Masters is going to be. The rest is all looking very tight. I mean, we just saw Ferox take a map off Okami. They could have had 2, and they quite easily could have had 2 against Wildcard last week as well. So, I mean, like, these standings could shape up incredibly differently. There's some really big matchups that are going to be coming soon. Elevate and Wildcard both play tomorrow night, so Okami really could drop a couple of places here.
I definitely think it's going to be fun at the conclusion of 6 Masters 2020 to sort of take a step back and like review the standings after each week to see how the teams end up where they are, because as you mentioned, there is a real possibility that these standings could look very, very different come the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, a massive example is that Sinister versus Elevate tomorrow night. Right? What if Sinister do actually get 2 maps of Elevate? That's going to put a real, I don't know, spin on a lot of people's predictions, and again, just how the standings could fall. That's something we can talk about tomorrow night and see what happens. But totally, this season is shaping up to be super interesting. I said the same about Pro League Season 11. It was one of the best ANZ seasons we've had. I think 6 Masters is almost proving even more exciting.
Well, that concludes tonight. Myself and Raven will bring you all the action tomorrow night. Same place, same time. Until then, stay safe and good night.
No thoughts left in my head. My mind's on mine and it won't forget. But you bring me back from the darkness black. Cause the soul in me and the heart I